Welcome to What's in a Game. On today's show, statement weeks have come and gone. What did the Denver Nuggets have to say? Stay tuned. Welcome back to What's in a Game. I'm Grace Jean here with my co-host Will Jones. How are you doing today, Will, on this fine Friday? TGIF.
Hey, yeah, we're streaming on Friday, not a day we typically stream to. So thank you for being here. If you're in the chat already and hanging out with us, we really appreciate you guys.
I feel like more podcasts should stream on Friday because I always before I had one and just got really busy, I was always like, man, Friday comes around and there aren't as many shows dropping. Why is that? I don't actually know.
I don't know. For me, I always have to do a lot of editing like through the day and especially the day after, like to get the audio version out. And people are like, I'm not editing on Saturday.
That's
but
fair.
I don't know if that's what they do or not. But
no, but we've got Will in the editing minds, so
yeah, I know.
He doesn't get overtime, guys.
No. But otherwise, great win. Happy to be here after a win. As always, more people show up in the chat and talk about it. We're more excited about the team after a win, of course. Yeah, I kind of felt like the Nuggets, we'll talk about it more specifically, but when we lost to the Thunder and Shea hit that shot, and then it was like discussions about MVP, discussions about best in the world, discussions about the Nuggets will never be able to match up because we haven't beat them yet this season. And it just felt like the Nuggets kind of were dead, even though we barely lost that game. You could look at it as a silver lining in terms of us competing with them and almost pulling it off. But, you know, fans don't love moral victories. So it felt more like, what is the point with the Nuggets? Especially because AG hadn't looked good since he kind of came back. But things have kind of turned around for us with these two good wins on a back-to-back. Like, this was a tough stretch. We're playing pretty well through it. So, like, I'm pretty happy with how it is.
Yeah, I mean, on that OKC game too, it was like, I remember everyone like going into it, both on like Nuggets fan side, but even like people on the outside and like Thunder fans are like, well, like we're injured and this and that, because they had like, I mean, iHeart was out, J-Dub was out, and once I saw J-Dub was out, I was like, oh, they're not winning this game because we just haven't beat the Thunder whenever J-Dub doesn't play. As if the Thunder don't have just a plus 10 net rating, like as a team, regardless of who's on the floor, right? Like the rest of it's like, okay, just ignore all the data and be like, oh, we don't know if they're gonna like show up to play to like this and that. It's like, okay, whatever. Obviously, like you want Denver to win this game as a fan. The players definitely wanted to win that game. They tried really hard and like this and that, but there were issues, and we'll talk about it when we get to the breakdown. But we'll mostly be talking about the two most recent games on this back-to-back. Not just because they were wins, but because they were the most recent games, guys. As we sort of try to dissect, like, who is this team that is, you know, just starting to come together during the most, what is historically the flukiest month in the NBA, right? When it comes to March. But, yeah. So, before we get into it, please do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps us out with the algorithm as we try and grow the channel. All right, well, we have to start when talking about statement week with how both of us thought this was going to go. And I think statement week started before we started our predictions last week with the Lakers game. It started before that because they were playing some good teams. Even before that, they played the Wolves. They played like 3 division teams in a row at one point, right? Where it was like Portland, Mini, and then OKC, right? All in a row. And it's just been a really dense part of the schedule in terms of playing like playoff caliber teams. Portland excluded, but they are, you know, like right now, I think firmly in the play-in. Check the standings. And part of that is because of something that we've been talking about all season, which is that the way that Denver's season was schedule was structured is that all the good games, like basically all the good games, were going to be slated for not even the second half of the season, but the last like 40% of the season, right? Like you don't play OKC, who is a division rival, until February 1st. And then you have to play that team 4 times. I think the only team, like playoff team, I have to double check this now, especially in the West, that Denver played twice before January. They played the Rockets and the Wolves. And that's it. Like everybody else is like well below that in terms of like where they sit in the standings or their East teams. Like we had a pretty, I think, East heavy schedule to start the year. So it doesn't surprise me that this is where we're at in the season, like with where the schedule is and the density of the schedule against good teams. So we went into this second half, I guess, of statement fortnight is what we should call it instead of statement week.
Yeah.
Each of us not really predicting something like a 4-1 or a 5-0, right? You predicted, well, a win against the Lakers, a loss against the Knicks. And I predicted the opposite. So I started at 0-2. So we get to OKC, and both of us predicted wins in that case. And we were both wrong.
Yeah.
And then we get to Houston, and we both differed there. You predicted the win. I did not, because I thought Houston would try to clinch a split just because of where they were, like the motivation coming into that game. But you were right. They were on a back-to-back, and it killed them. And we both thought that they were going to lose against the Spurs. Because I said, like, this team's 21-6 at home, like the Spurs are. And your rationale, what was your rationale for it? It was just because it was the back-to-back?
For losing to the Knicks?
To the Spurs.
Oh, well, my rationale was I thought Wemby was going to be playing, and therefore we had no chance. We're going to get crushed. That was basically it.
I mean,
I should have thought about the back. I should have thought about the back-to-back, but I wasn't really considering it at the time. I just thought, yeah, the Spurs have been really good, and we've been kind of shitty.
I thought that we've been good. I thought we were better on back-to-backs. Even this season, there's only been 2 where I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't the same team that I thought they were on back-to-backs, which is kind of crazy because we have the most back-to-backs in the season, and there's been a bunch of other ones that have been great, right? And again, last night, like they started off very, very slow, and we'll talk about that. But then they like gut out this disgusting win. Not disgusting actually, because this was a win where they scored 87 points in the second half, which is absurd. 87 or 83. 83 points in the second half. Yeah. Still crazy. To come back from a 20-point deficit against the second seed in the conference at home. Yes, without Wemby, but they've been good without Wemby anyway. And you'd think once a team that good has built that kind of lead, like that's going to be really hard to come back against. And it was really hard, right? Like Denver was like making their runs, but the Spurs kept punching back. But then we finally were able to get, string together some stops, and it was really impressive. But the thing I wanted to point out here, Will, is that I went 0-6.
You didn't get like, one right.
There were only 5 games. Yes, I went 0-6 because I got all 5 games wrong and I got the record wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was happy with how I did in these predictions. I only just missed. I thought we'd beat the Thunder, and we were so close. And the Spurs seemed like
they led almost the entire game again, and then lost it in the clutch, which we will talk about at the end of the show.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, predictions are hard. Don't take it too harshly on yourself.
I mean, I won't, because it's always 50-50 because these were all good teams and this and that. I want to say though, what were things that I was wrong about in retrospect with these predictions? The Lakers one, I felt pretty confident about. them losing that game just because I thought, like, just the way that they front, and Denver hadn't been playing well. But what I was wrong about is that Denver is usually pretty resilient when they haven't been playing well, is they'll always like kind of show you a bit of a spark and like show you some signs of life after that. And that was a gutsy win too, because that was a pretty close game. Like they weren't ever really pulling away. And they were able to eke it out at the end. But Denver looked like the like clear better team in that game. Um, the Knicks one was the one I remember saying, this is the one I'm the most confident about. They're going to win this game.
Yeah, I was shocked by that.
Because the Knicks were not on a back-to-back, but Denver was on a back-to-back. And that made me feel better about it. But then they got completely destroyed. Like, it's a lot of people point out like, oh, well, Jamal went out and that's when they like completely let go of the rope. But they were getting like spanked before that point too. Like the Knicks basically took a double-digit lead mid first quarter, and it stayed that way, I think, pretty much through the half. And then Jamal went out like before the half, and then it was curtains at that point. OG Anunoby was just completely destroying us.
If you like me and predict,
it was the Knicks 3rd and 4. That's what I said. It's not their back to back, but it's their third game in 4 nights. Plus the Nuggets are like great on a back to back, but I was completely wrong about that.
Our home, presence hasn't been there, so that wasn't convincing me. And I just felt like, I don't know. I think if the Knicks got to the finals and we somehow got to the finals, I think we'd play them more competitively. But I just feel like the Knicks always kill us, and I wasn't seeing enough consistency with how we were playing, and with injuries, and just we hadn't had like a stretch where we looked like we were kind of coming back, like we kind of are right now. So maybe I would have predicted we would have beaten the Knicks if they were coming up after what I've just seen. But then I was like,
I think I would have predicted an L after what we've just seen. Okay. Because I'm like, they just got 2 great wins against 2 like Western Conference teams, and the Knicks are coming to their house. Denver has a worse record at home than on the road, just straight up. They're it's not bad. They're still above 500, 18 and 13 at home, but it is the worst home record of the top 9 West teams. And they're 23 and 13 on the road, so substantially better on the road. That is the second, I have to do the math a little bit with the Spurs, but they're like basically tied for second best road record in the conference, right? And so that's it, is like, and that's why I was and continue to be pretty nervous about this like remaining home heavy stretch to close the season. Like a lot of people were, including myself, were really excited about that part of the season where the schedule first came out. But after seeing like the first month really of the season, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing. And that was before we knew like what the injury situation was going to look like, right? For the team this year. But 18 and 13 is better than where they were like last week. Frankly, they've been doing better at home than they had been. I think they were only a game or 2 games above 500 at home before we started our predictions. I gotta fact check that. They got 3. You were right about LA. Oh no, they lost the Knicks game. Okay, so maybe it was a couple weeks ago. Better than where they were a couple weeks ago. It's still not great. All right. Are you ready to jump into these most recent games against the Rockets and the Spurs? So we have some interesting narratives to dive into with the players that are coming back and figuring out what the hell is going on with the late season rotation before Denver, tries to make their playoff push. So I'll start with I think a quick summary of the Rockets and Spurs games, and then we'll get into the big talking points here. So the Nuggets won the Rockets game running away, like just completely ran them out of the gym in that third quarter. I will say Houston missed a lot of threes, especially Reed Sheppard, who I think only made one, at least the one I can remember on my rewatch. At one point in the beginning of the fourth quarter, they were shooting the same that Denver shot against the Knicks, which was like 8%. It was insane how poorly they were shooting. Even some they have a lot of bad shooters, but even their good shooters were having bad nights, right? And like I said, Denver led early and then they completely blitzed them in that third quarter. Two really good third quarters in a row, by the way. They didn't take the lead against the Spurs in the third quarter, but they definitely seized the momentum back and got themselves back in that game. And that has been a marker for some fans that think third quarters are a good mark of being a great third quarter team is a good mark for a playoff team. So it means oh, you guys make good adjustments and that kind of thing. I don't know about that, but it was just something to point out. It's definitely something you notice, right? Especially if you start the game off well and then you have a great third quarter, then you can run the team out of the gym. If you start the game off poorly and then you have a great third quarter, then it's you've like we did against the Spurs, seize momentum back and are able to get yourself back in it, get the crowd back in it. And we are all about the fans here at What's in a Game. There was a narrative about Jamal attacking Reed Sheppard a lot in this game. I didn't really find that, to be completely honest. There were a couple of plays where we were able to create shots for other guys off of what Houston tried to do to adjust for it, because we were doing it enough that Houston tried to adjust for it. But went back to the film and Jamal only took 5 shots when guarded by Reed Sheppard, which wasn't crazy, and he made 2 of them. Right? He goes to his patented kind of mid-range turnaround. But I wanted to point out something that Houston tried to do, because they were attacking Reed enough. And he was coming off the bench, so that's probably why it didn't stick out as particularly prominent in the film. Reed was coming off the bench. But if you could bring in the Jonas Tippin clip here. So, oh no, they don't. I thought this clip had the whole kind of beginning of this sequence. Okay, so he's attacking Reed, and they bring, I don't know if they did this on purpose or if it was just a Kogi kind of freewheeling it here, but he sees that Jamal's got Reed on an island, goes to double, and they blitz him, I think, pretty well, but he gets the ball to Bruce on the short roll there. He misses the floater, but then Jonas is able to get the tip in. And that's just something to watch, because I do think that this was a big talking point coming out of this game from some analysts about what it would look like potentially in a playoff series against the Rockets with Reed Sheppard, who is an integral player for this Rockets team. You see what they look like when he doesn't play well, which he went, I think, 1 of 9 from 3 in that game. And it's not just shot making. He actually did some other good stuff in the first half of this game to help keep them in it. And he's scrappy, he competes, all that stuff that you say about a guy who's a bad defender and sometimes gets picked on. But he's definitely the mark. And it's not just because of him. It's because of well, what are the other options, right, to go after on this Houston Rockets team that has Amin Thompson and Dorian Finney-Smith, if he ever, recovers, and Tari Eason and even Josh Okogie is if you have to attack him, you can, but you're not going to hunt that matchup necessarily. So it's yeah, of course they're going to go after Reed Sheppard. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on that particular matchup? Not just in this game, but generally, especially given how reliant Houston seems to be on him to play coherently as a team.
To rely on Reed Sheppard to play coherently. I mean, they definitely want his shooting. And
they just don't have guard play. They just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even necessarily like a point guard, but just like someone who can like
I think in this
create
game,
from the
like
perimeter.
maybe there wasn't a deliberate attempt from Jamal to continually attack him. Maybe that's something
Yeah.
if we meet in the playoffs, we would do way more and start exploiting. I didn't think we needed to necessarily do it. I feel like we have good matchups across the board. I mean, Amin is obviously a good defender, and anyone he's guarding on our team, maybe besides like on a Jokic post up, he can do a really good job. And
We
so
didn't see
you
a lot
got
of Amen on Jamal in this game. We saw a lot of
yeah,
Tari. That was notable. We've seen a lot more Amen on Jamal in prior matchups for sure. And we played Houston. I think this was the last matchup. Did we play them 3 or 4 times this season? I guess it was 4. Yeah,
I
because
don't know how.
this would have been they had the opportunity to split the season series, but we clinched the tiebreaker. So this was our
Yeah.
3rd win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I remember the last time we beat them, we had 2 starters out, I think. And they had another starter out too, but every time we beat
Definitely an
them,
AG out.
yeah,
Probably
I
AG and
think,
Christian, I think was that
yeah,
December
that was
part of the
it.
season.
And I was just convinced that we have this matchup in the bag, and then this was such a convincing win over them. The Rockets did make a ton of mistakes, like you were saying, like missed shots. Their spacing on
Oh my
offense
God, the
wasn't great.
turnovers. I was like, what are they
Turnovers.
doing?
So a lot of stuff played into our hands to help us out on the defense. Like we know our defense isn't like forcing the issue a lot of the times, but when there's not spacing well, not taking care of the ball, it's going to make it easier for us to actually like capitalize on some stuff. And I'll take it. And I think that there are holes in the Rockets team on defense and when they're playing offense that we can exploit. And like I don't think like you're seeing Reed's going to be on the floor. They want his shooting on any kind of an aggressive blitz like we just showed. He's not going to be big enough to really deter Jamal, and I don't think explosive enough to keep up with Jamal if he had to dribble out of that to make a pass. Maybe some other players are. I mean, I don't like Reed in that matchup for sure on defense. There were times Jamal was leaving him wide open on the reverse, but Jamal can't just leave Reed Sheppard open because he's a really good shooter. So just got to be aware of that.
I do think that this recent stretch for the Rockets, and by recent, I mean like the last 2 months, basically, really exposed something that I think everyone kind of knew about already, but kind of highlighted it. They are offensive rebound merchants. And when they don't have Steven Adams they're still a great offensive rebounding team even without him, but he made them god tier, which is what they needed to counteract how poor this half court offense is. Not just in terms of process, as you alluded to, with like so many possessions where I'm like, yeah, Denver got a steal there, but like they basically gave them the ball because of how poor the spacing was, and you're allowing like one guy on Denver to guard 2 or 3 Rockets just because of how they're spaced. Not just the process, but obviously the shooting too. Like they were missing wide open shots throughout this game. In addition to
chuck up shots, hope for the rebound, get another possession. Second chance points been huge. Yeah, Steven Adams, huge
I think
loss.
even when Steven Adams was there, it was evident in the data. I think they were like 18th in first shot effective field goal percentage, which is not good. But despite being like a top 3 offense overall, because the offensive rebounding edge just gave them such a it wasn't just a possession battle thing, because sometimes they can be a high turnover team too, but just being able to score period. It was not present. I think this was the game. I need to double check. Maybe it was the Celtics game, but I think this was the game where Denver held a team to the fewest points this season. And I was like, oh. Honestly, like getting mundered by the Denver Nuggets is like an embarrassing thing this season. And that was my thought coming out of that game. Even though Denver definitely had some things that went in their favor. We can talk about some of what they did against Kevin Durant. If you could bring up the first KD turnover. There was a lot of Jokic at the level in this game, not just against KD, but any ball handler, but because of just what their injury situation is, it was a lot of KD initiating. And you see here, it was just easy to bother his dribble with like Jokic and Christian like playing good. Kind of it wasn't even like a hard blitz. It's just like Jokic playing at the level and like Christian kind of sticking with him, and KD just Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
Katie kind of looked
high
old to me at
hands.
times. I don't
He
know.
was
Like
what?
he just looked kind of old to me. Like I know he's getting older,
Mm.
but I haven't really seen him
I mean,
look
isn't
like
he
he's
37?
36 maybe. I don't know. But yeah, just like his even on defense, just late calling people to switch because he just didn't want to work
37,
hard
yeah.
enough and 37, damn. And
Yeah.
just like yeah, getting stopped on the drive right there. Jokic had to run up to. He wasn't like playing at the level like usual, but he just kind of ran up after and stopped the drive there and leading to a turnover. I don't know. But again, their spacing isn't great either, which on this play, I don't know if that was an issue, but they had two guys kind of well, they had one in the post and one in the dunker spot, but it was Tim Hardaway in the post, which he was trying to make the pass there, but Christian did a good job.
Yeah. And then there was another one. If you could bring up the Cam steal off of Katie. I want to talk about this possession because I thought what we did defensively was kind of interesting. So it was basically just Cam playing gap coverage. This was funny because Christian. There've been some like interesting low light reels with Christian and Spencer throwing lobs in transition the last few games. Um, but but Cam's able to get this deflection, just playing like pretty soft gap coverage, and KD throwing a lazy pass. But and we'll have some other examples when we get to Cam. He's been a lot more confident shooting the gaps recently and kind of playing that free safety role. And I just wonder if you've noticed anything different about how we're using, like how we're explicitly using Cam defensively on top of what he's done in terms of like the individual plays.
I don't see anything specific yet. I mean, him just being smart and playing passing lanes like he did there to jump in. Like he's always been a good positional player. What I've always wanted to see is more of the athleticism being brought out with staying in front of guys and being physical, which I only see in spots. And he definitely has room to grow in that regard. And he's been injured, which is partly why I hadn't been too harsh on him not like really getting into people, especially ball handlers. But he definitely knows like where to be. Like he's a good basketball sense and instinct. And I think that's just the case. I think he's getting more comfortable, and I'm hoping that if he's not having to worry as much about the offense and thinking about himself being in a slump, he can be more cognizant on defense. I feel like the whole team's trying to be more like they can put the effort in and like run around, but like they got to play a little smart too, and just like and play together and know like if he's going there, like I got to cover here, playing as a team defense. And I feel like they've been emphasizing that more. So I think, yeah, if anything, it's just more everybody buying in, not necessarily like something to do with Cam, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I was just curious if like if we were using him any differently on defense. But this was a very like confident shooting of the gap in this game. And there were a lot of like great momentum plays in that third quarter when they went on like a 20-4 run to like basically put the game away before the fourth quarter started. Um let's talk about Cam and his comeback while we're here. Um Cam has been very up and down over the last few weeks since coming back from the same knee injury that Jokic had, by the way, bone bruise, right? Out for a month. Um, the problem, I think, with analyzing how his game has gone in the context of his injury is that a lot of the issues that were worse now, like some of the worst issues, were things that were already problems before the injury, right? So it was and continues to be difficult to try and um disaggregate those things. It's like how much can we attribute to him coming back from injury, how much can we attribute to like this is just the version of Cam Johnson we're gonna get with this team. He hasn't had any like crazy scoring explosion type games or anything, but I will say the last two games have been notably more confident. The Thunder game was not, though, and that was just 3 games ago, which we should note. And there was an opportunity at like that game. I'm like having like flashbacks now because I didn't rewatch that one as many times to prepare for this show. But I'm having flashbacks now to Cam having the opportunity to take the lead with that corner three before the game eventually went to overtime. And just thinking like, this is not going to go in. Like before he even caught the ball, I was like, this is not going to go. And it's not just my doomer sense. My doomer senses are tingling. I was like, he does not want this ball right now. And he got it. And it's like, you have to shoot it because there was only so much time left on the clock. But I just thought that not broke him, but it was just like he's gonna be really disappointed because he can feel the weight of everybody else being disappointed as well. Not just the fans. Like I think like Jokic is like a big like one of the biggest offenders of like hanging his head when certain shots don't go in, not just from Cam, but anyone. Like we have like, okay, perfect possession. Like, yes, the defense did this, but we adjusted and we achieved this shot quality, and then the shot doesn't go in. Like he doesn't love that. Right. And I don't think he's necessarily blaming the player, but he like us is like, damn it, you want that to be rewarded by the basketball gods. You want good basketball to be rewarded by the basketball gods. And it wasn't in that instance. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Just like that's been kind of the story of Cam. I feel like you said, like him not wanting to disappoint. And there's been plenty of people talking about what it's like to come in and play on a contender and someone like Jokic and how in his head he is. And we have people in the comments talking about him being too smart for his own good and being in his head. And I know that the Nuggets players are telling him just to be himself and like be Cam Johnson and not worry about it too much. And you'd think, yeah, like that makes sense. It's of course what he should do. He's a smart player. Like he doesn't need to overthink it. He should trust himself. It takes a long time to actually get that to come out on the court. And so hopefully this is the signs that he is starting to do that. Because you're like, yeah, go out and have fun and be yourself. That's easy enough. But it is harder than it seems.
Nope, I lost you for a second. Can you hear me?
I'm back. Yes. Sorry, we're getting a little bit of
good. All right.
Dropped frames.
It's probably my internet. I don't know. They're doing some construction outside. Hopefully things stabilize. But let's talk about Cam over the last 2 games because I mean, frankly, he's looks like a completely different player than he had over the previous 2 weeks, right? Let's start with a few things from the Rockets game. Let's go to the Cam blocks first. There was this one possession where he gets these 2 amazing rear view contests that result in blocks on defense. You can go ahead and hit play.
Yeah, he just comes from behind there after gets caught on the screen, but still able to recover. Jokic is obviously in a drop here, so making him pull up into mid-range, which allows the defender to come back. Jokic didn't have to work too hard there, I will say.
Right, which is easy. Like, I mean, that's the point of Jokic drop. Like, it's like everyone's talking about drop is like it's to prevent corner threes or whatever. It's like no, like we play Jokic drop to give him a break. That's why we play Jokic drop. It's not to be any kind of effective. It's kind of the same reason that we play zone as a team, which is part of the reason that those coverages are so ineffective. But the point is, it puts a lot of pressure on whoever is at the point of attack, which is why KCP was incredible, right? To make some of those coverages work and be effective defensively. But Cam, I think he's been largely pretty good at recovery, not just in this case, like getting rear view contests, but like over the course of the season, being really good about getting back in front of the ball handler. I think he and Spencer probably the 2 best at that when it comes to fighting over screens. And that was, like a, quick little defensive play. But let's talk about the offense because that's really there's actually one more. Oh no, we already talked about the steal off Katie. So let's talk about the offense. First play that stood out in this game was very early is Cam muscling through Alperen Şengün on a drive at the rim. So he's coming off of a pin down, gets the handoff, gets to the rim. And I think Şengün is decently contesting here. And he's huge, right? But Cam fights through that contact and does a little hop step and he's like, I'm getting this shot off. He could have easily been like, oh, I've drawn the help. And maybe you're switching to Jonas, but I'm still going to try to get him the ball, which is what Cam to do is he sees his job as I'm coming off of this pin down, coming over for the handoff, and I'm going to get the ball to the big, or I'm going to, it's often a shovel pass. He's not really there aren't too many instances of him coming off that action for a kick out, but he's usually trying to look for some kind of interior pass. But this time he's like, no, I'm scoring and that was the right play also because the pass was not there. And that stood out to me in the game, but that was pretty indicative of how the rest of that particular night was going to go. Let's go to the transition corner 3 as the next big confidence play here. So another turnover for the Rockets on this. Not turnover. Block. That was a great block by AG. Was that a direct outlet by AG to Cam, or did he get the ball to Jokic first? Sorry, the video on mine.
It goes to CB. Then
he gets to see Christian. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, beautiful, tic-tac-toe shot play, and Cam was you can see, is that Tari Eason kind of pretend stunting in his direction, and he's maybe I'll contest. I can't tell who that is, but Cam doesn't try to pump fake and drive, and he's no, you have to keep the momentum going when you have a possession like this. Not pretend. He doesn't stunt to contest. He's leaping over, and Cam's no, I'm taking this shot with confidence, and it's going in. I will say, when this shot went up, I wasn't thinking it's going to go in. I didn't think that necessarily, but it wasn't I felt, with the one at the end of the Thunder regulation, the Thunder game in regulation, it was this might go in actually, because he wanted to shoot it. It was incredible.
It's textbook. Someone has to pick up the ball. Jokic is trailing, gets the ball. Someone's going to have to stop him. Run to the corner. He did it right away. It was he knew that was going to happen. He's in the rhythm. He's in rhythm on that play, in rhythm on the shot. So, yeah, I mean, you never know what to expect with this shot because he's been in a slump, but it's been good to see it's been coming back.
You can go ahead and play the above the break 3 on that broken play for the next one. So Jamal kind of has nothing going here. Passes back to Yoke, and Yoke's getting doubled. Pass to Cam, and Cam does not hesitate. And I was happy about that before I was happy about him not hesitating before the shot even goes in, right? That's the point here. Is Cam has not been overthinking over these last 2 games, and I hope that continues. It's going to need to as guys continue to come back into the rotation, and there's more possibility for thoughts of okay, got to make sure AG gets his shots, or Peyton's really aggressive right now, and this, that, and the other. It's no, when you get the shot, you need to take it. And Cam, it's more disappointing coming from Cam when he does hesitate, because you can see how frustrated we get with Christian in those moments. You're Cam, you're supposed to be a good shooter. You're supposed to have a short memory and know where your shots are going to come from and take them, right? And you're also not a 4th year player in the NBA, right? You are a veteran player in the NBA. This is not the time to be second guessing yourself. Especially in key moments, right? So this has been a welcome sight for sure. I do still want to talk about some of those like little things that Cam does that are not little. They're things that have continued to that he's been doing even over like through his rough stretch, but they're really nice add-ons and they show you why, regardless of how you feel about them as individual players, like why the thought was like Cam would be at least of a fit in Denver as MPJ. So let's go to the Cam shovel to Yoke. Like I said, he's always looking for these interior passes when he runs plays with guys. So here you've got Cam on a drive and he draws the help and does not hesitate to just like, it's easy because like there's no one on the backside. He could have even gotten it to AG there potentially, but Yoke was standing, more adjacent to him, but he draws Şengün on the help. This is a very lazy defense by Houston, by the way. Like, man, they were so bad in that third quarter. Right. Just like so much less activity. But like this is what you need to take advantage of bad. Houston's not a bad defense, but they were not playing good defense in the second half of this game. And what did we say at the beginning of the year, Will? This offense is good enough to absolutely boat race bad defenses. If you don't come to play, Denver should completely blow you out of the water. And that's what happened in this game against Houston because of this, like not because of Cam specifically, but because he is like a cog in this machine that just keeps whirring, just keeps going, right? Keeps coming at you. Again, you can go to the transition bounce pass to Christian. Cam's been a lot more confident in transition too. And I mean like a lot more because there were so many times in the first half of the season where he'd get an outlet from Yoke and like bobble the ball immediately or like immediately like go to pull it out and reset the offense because like some of the defenders got back too early. It helps when there are some other teammates ahead of you that you have to pass to. And often Cam on those like more not broken plays, but plays that didn't result in like a transition opportunity. He was like the furthest one down the floor. And I do think that he's looking for his teammates there. He even like could have gotten it. Okay. There. He gets it to Christian at the perfect time. And Christian, as we'll see in the next couple clips, is super confident whenever he's taking shots off passes from Cam. Like it was something that was really funny that stood out in the rewatch of this game. If you could go to the swing to Christian in the corner. So this is another example. You could say like Cam wasn't being aggressive enough because they're playing gap coverage on him and he's got the open shot. But he sees like Christian's going to be open and he's getting it to Christian in the corner. I would have been happy with either play here just because Christian is open in the corner. They are playing gap coverage, but you don't know if they're going to close out on you. But you know for sure Christian's going to be open either way. Right.
Yeah, I mean, Reed's making technically a good decision. I'd rather run Cam off the line than Christian, but even with Cam slumping, just his reputation.
I'm glad that Cam was not run off the line, though. That would have been the wrong choice. That would have been the only wrong CD. Play that you could have made there. Yeah.
Yeah, and he made the shot, which is great. Cam being decisive, and I thought this is what we would see getting him is a lot more distributing and just a connective passer, connective player, and just plugging him in the system and it working and just keeping everything flowing. And we hadn't seen it yet. These plays are exactly what I expected. It's so good to see.
This is the kind of stuff that he's been doing for most of the season when he's been healthy. And even over the last 2 weeks, like it's been like a little bit more stilted because he's been second guessing. Like in the OKC game, he would have been run off the line there and like driven into traffic. And I'd been like, what are you doing? But before that, I think that this is like most of what we've been getting from Cam, even when like the shots weren't going up or the shots weren't going in early in the season. So I did want to highlight that because it is just a continuation. But I do think that even on these passes, he looks more decisive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And they're just beautiful. And they're like, it's like he sees it ahead of time by how quickly and smooth they look, like, and just the timing of it, making the shots easy for his teammates too, like just putting it in the right spot. he kind of led Christian Braun on that bounce pass we just saw, and just a nice timing dump off to Jokic. Like, he's just a smart guy. He's just got to not get in his own way.
Next one here is the swing pass to Christian above the break. And this was just another, like, a similar play where he's very quick to get the ball to Christian. But here he is, like, the guy's running out to contest. And is that KD guarding Christian there? That he's just completely ignoring him. I mean,
he had a close. He was supposed
he missed a closeout there. He was supposed to rotate closer. So yeah, bad. Like, the Rockets did look terrible in this game, really, on both ends of the floor, which is why that was like my primary takeaway from that game. In addition to obviously like Denver being able to take advantage of that. But I wasn't like coming out of that game thinking, oh my gosh, like Denver. Like, I wasn't coming out of that game being like, okay, we're winning the title, you know? This makes up for everything kind of thing. I wanted to get to a few more plays that Cam had against the Spurs before we talk about that game, because I think he was pretty integral in that win. Everybody was, because it was a pretty close game. Let's go to the Cam midi first. A lot more, again, confident offense where he's got the ball and he's looking for his own shot here. He could have turned the ball over, seeing that Capella kind of stunts to him and then recovers to Jokic, but didn't do that. It's like, I have this shot. And this has been one of those shots that I've been hoping he would take more, because it's been there in these pick and roll situations and these just kind of isolation drive situations. And this was this started really in the third quarter, so it was really like Cam coming alive in the second half. This is not from the Spurs game. This is still Rockets. I've got some more later, but just more confident play against the Rockets. Let's go to the Cam driving layup. And I think maybe this one was from the Spurs game. Yes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so again, like Cam really comes alive in the second half. Every Spur follows him here. Like, he could have chosen to kick out to Yoke in this situation, because like the Spurs were leaving Yoke open for that pick and pop. And you could even argue that would have been the correct play in this situation too, because he did have help waiting for him in the paint. And all three of the Spurs there. But this, I think, is like, I included this play because it's the best illustrator that it's a change in his mentality, more so than a change in like, well, the defenses are guarding him differently, so now he's trying to score. It's like, no, actually, like, the play there was to kick it back to Jokic. But he was still like attacking pretty aggressively. Let's go to the Cam put back midi. So I think he gets an offensive rebound on a missed shot. Maybe it was like a missed three here. Denver was missing a lot of shots in this game.
It drew a lot of defenders for a wide open Jokic three.
Yeah, so Jokic misses the three, and he gets this, and then it's like, nope, I'm going for this turnaround. And I have in my notes, it was very reminiscent of Mikal Bridges, because this is like a very Mikal-esque looking shot, not just in like the type of shot that it is, but even like his release and everything. Take that for what you will. But the shot really like
the decision at first.
There was didn't like the decision too.
There was a million defenders on it. Fox didn't.
Yeah, there's a million. That's the same as that previous play where all the Spurs go with him. The previous play that we showed, all the Spurs go with him, and he doesn't kick back to Yoke. This was the correct play, right? But Yoke misses the three, and he hasn't been shooting well from three, which we're going to talk about either, since he came back from his injury. But yeah, like Cam did the right thing there, and then he gets the putback. I like seeing Cam offensive rebound, because we haven't seen that a lot. He hasn't been mixing it up as much on the glass, and I think offensive rebound is a better indicator of that, because often with defensive rebounding, like you're the defensive team, you're the ones that's supposed to be in position for the rebound. And he's not really like fighting anyone for this one, but he has gotten a few like kind of contested offensive rebounds in the last couple games. And he's not like Spencer Jones where he's like attacking the offensive glass every possible opportunity or anything like that. But he is like trying. And sometimes even when you don't get the board, if you're able to like tip it further away, like further into the backcourt to like somebody on the defender on the opposite team, it means that they can't immediately like outlet pass or like get the ball down the court, and it kind of gives your transition defense a better chance as well. But the shot and the moment in this game that made me stand up from my seat watching this game that I'd been watching pretty glibly for most of the night, and even as Denver was kind of making their comeback, I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. This feels very like fake comeback-esque. But this moment in the clutch, when Cam calls for a shot, when Jokic is running, I think this was an inverted set by Jokic, and Cam relocates and calls for this shot. I did not know that this was going to go in, but I stood up from my seat when I saw Cam calling for the ball and then immediately shooting it. And then when it went in, I was like, oh my gosh, we might actually win this game, which is crazy because even before that shot, they were already up 6 with 3 minutes left. But we know what these games look like in the clutch lately. So I was not holding my breath until this moment where I was like, oh, they're winning. Like they're actually winning this game. That's nuts. Right.
Yeah.
But it was the confidence to do that in that moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just those are the plays that we've been wanting to see in the clutch. Not that, I mean, we were up, more than 5 in that when he took that shot, but just trying to close a game.
Those are the how kinds we win of things it. We want to see. If we can get out of the clutch for part of the clutch, then we have a better chance. You can't be in the clutch for the full 5 minutes, Denver. Yeah. Otherwise, you're screwed.
So it's just it was great seeing him actually make a play to like seal a game, solidify a lead, get the lead back up, and we want shots like that from Cam, and he's missed them in the past when it's like a big 3 that we need to make to win a game and just misses. And like we've seen it from Pwat, we've seen it from plenty of other people. These shots just aren't going in. Jokic brought it up too with regards to the clutch in an interview after a game once, where it's like, the other team's making shots and our shots aren't going in, and at some point they probably will. And so hopefully that's going to change and trend in our direction more often.
Couple other things he did late in this game. Let's go to the clutch midi, which was huge. Like every bucket down the stretch of this game was huge because after Denver made their run, Spurs come back and they're like, we have to take threes. And then they were making them. Right. So it's like, the one shot that I'm like, guys, please don't allow this. And they were contested too, most of them. But we needed this bucket. Just keep scoring here. Just like keep scoring, keep like putting some distance between you guys, keep taking the game out of the clutch for a few seconds.
Yeah.
In this game.
It was a assertive attack from Cam right there. Yeah.
And taking like a shot that's like, well, this is not a good shot. I don't know if I'm the one that's supposed to be taking this shot. Jamal should be taking this shot. And Jamal was. Jamal was incredible down the stretch of this game, which we're definitely going to talk about. But Cam, I think in the last 5 minutes, I think was an equal contributor, or near equal. Jamal was kind of insane, actually. He was pretty heroic. And then there was this driving layup as well that was during Denver, the comeback phase of the game. They still hadn't taken the lead, and every single point was needed to finally. This is the phase of these comebacks that is usually the most difficult is that like last 4 or 5 points that you need to get over the hump and like finally take the lead after you've been down big, right? Um
Yeah, we're having
sorry, hang
hold
on.
on, having technical difficulties. Real quick. Can you guys hear us, chat? Test. What are you seeing, Grace?
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Our connection's definitely rough right now.
Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, Cam was amazing the last 2 games. So I really wanted to shout out those like very big confident plays, particularly on offense, because we've seen like flashes on defense and he's like mostly been pretty solid except for some like pretty egregiously bad games. Like OKC stands out as one, but he was also not the only one that was bad on defense in that game either. But it's like many things going on in the world right now, a situation to monitor. Right?
Yeah.
That's the phrase everybody's using these days. Okay. Yep.
Okay, we're gonna try again. We're back. Hopefully, we'll see. Internet's still bad.
Okay, we're back. I can see us on stream. Okay. Everybody. Sorry about that. Hopefully things stabilize enough that we can get through the rest of the show at least.
Yeah.
So just to wrap it up on Cam, I wanted to know, Will, from your perspective, what more do you want to see from Cam down the stretch of the regular season to make you more confident about him being at least a steady contributor in the playoffs? Because I will say, like, the lows have been like frighteningly low for a player that is like a starter, not just a starter, but like a non like Christian caliber starter in this team.
So let's see. I mean, consistency of some kind, because I get that he isn't going to be perfect. He's not going to hit every single shot. But I need him to be enough of a threat, whether it's like a downhill threat, off ball, you know, to create second side actions, to just space the floor on actions we're running in the middle of the floor, just to get the offense running, be the connective passer that we've been talking about. I would love on defense, like, you know, we've been saying maybe he's our best perimeter defender, so it's a lot to put on him. I just need him to stay on the floor, one, don't be injured, and then, like you said, like we've been talking about, be assertive, not hesitate, be decisive, be himself, have fun, trust in the other guys in CB and make those passes, and just get in that kind of flow state with the rest of the team that we're seeing right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up the shooting percentage that he's on in these last couple of games, because he seems like he's constantly going in and out of slumps. But just a consistency with his shot, if anything, like consistency with his shot, and then some aggressiveness on defense would put us in a really good spot. Because I don't need him to necessarily like be making tons of assists, and you know, when the playoffs come, he will not be in like a stagger unit all the time. But like I had more high hopes for him staggering and like really running a bench unit maybe even without Jamal, and we're just probably not going to see that. But if
We're not
he's
going to see
playing
that
well,
we weren't going to see that in the playoffs anyway, but we
yeah,
probably won't see that much of it down the stretch of the season either.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and the playoffs wasn't going to happen, so like we're running out of time for me to be able to see a lot of like that, which is what I was really hoping for. And he's just been trying to get his feet under him in this season. So, but you got to be playing well at the right time with the playoffs starting, and hopefully this is a sign that the consistency will be there and the health is there as well, because him just staying on the court has been an issue, which we've all been worried about from the trade. Like everyone was talking about that, him not playing enough games in the season, but he's stabilizing at least in terms of that. Let's hope. I mean, he hurt his ankle again. He seemed pretty good though. He seems like he's moving well, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the Spurs game in general before we move on to the discussion about Spencer. So this game, as we kind of pointed out, the Denver was able to finally win close. No AG, thankfully, on the back-to-back. He did play against the Rockets, only 22 minutes, which I also support and approve of. But Wemby also didn't play, which was a surprise to me. I know that he'd been dealing with an ankle issue, but he is kind of bumping up against the 65 games played requirement that he'll need for All NBA and probably DPOY this season. And I think he's got like 4 games left after this one, or was it 5?
Yeah, it's cutting it close.
Yeah, cutting it close. It is down the stretch of the season, so I guess he feels like there's not going to be any other like major rest events, or like the Spurs are going to be likely far enough ahead of whoever's fighting for third that they're going to be able to rest games down the stretch of this, like at the very end of the season. So that is also something that surprised me about the fact that he didn't play in this game. I know there were some people that were worried, like, oh, we haven't had a chance to like play against Wemby with the Spurs this season because he was injured the last time that that Denver played San Antonio as well. I think that's when he was out with the longer term thing. What was the long term injury that Wemby had at the beginning of the season where he missed like 10 games? You remember?
Yeah, what was that injury? I don't remember specifically.
Some kind of strain. It's always a strain, right? Was it a calf strain? I don't remember. Everybody's got soft tissue stuff. It was the calf. Okay. It's always a calf strain. That's just, unfortunately, that's like the safe guess at this point. This season, there have been so many. Are you worried about the fact that like we have no idea really what this matchup looks like with Wemby yet?
Yeah, I'm definitely worried. I mean, Jokic has had really good games against Wemby before. Obviously, the Spurs were a different team then, even in past seasons. I always trust in Jokic's ability to figure people out, but sometimes when teams can be really aggressive on Jokic in the post and then hold up elsewhere, especially on the perimeter with athleticism, which is what the Spurs can do, it's always scary. But like the Spurs just are good, and I don't know. I feel good that we won this game because we needed to do it for our seeding, and like I don't want to slip more in the standings. I don't want to be tied with the Suns in the standings. Part of the typical historical trends of championship winning teams, not all of them, but very few win the title when you're not top 3 seed. So it was important to win this game, and we did it. And like to show the resolve to come back is quite a statement. So I'm taking that for what it is. But yes, they did not have Wemby. So if we're struggling like this without Wemby, you could look at it on the other side where you're worried that when he comes back, we're not going to match up well. And I always knew the Spurs were a tough matchup for us. It's not like that's a surprise to anyone. But yeah, I'm going to have to see like how we're going to figure out this puzzle if we play them in a series.
Yeah, I think the main thing that changes is the offense, and even DA got this question about them about the matchup like with versus without Wemby post game yesterday, and he said like we probably end up taking more threes just because like that's what Wemby engenders. I'm probably more worried about the offense than the defense with Wemby. That is something I'm really curious about because in these both of these last two matchups that were both clutch games, by the way, which the first one shouldn't have been because Denver was up like 18 in the third quarter. The issue was our defense. Inability to contain these incredibly athletic and dynamically skilled guards that the Spurs have. And really, I mean, they were getting destroyed in transition in that first game. That was less of a dynamic in this one, but in the half court even, it was like, well, we're not staying in front of these guys. And it was really a function, like the fact that we were able to hang around and then pull away despite the lead. And I give Denver credit for doing that. But it's like, well, why was San Antonio not able to hold on to things? It was like some fluky misses at the rim and then like missed shots where I'm like, oh, okay. They're not as good. They're not as overwhelming of a shooting team all the time as I expected. I remember that first matchup. It felt like they were making everything.
Yeah, that is a good sign. Because that's really where I was like, oh my God, they look really scary.
And hopefully this looks even worse when Wemby's back.
Yeah.
Right. So that's definitely something to consider. And I feel like when Wemby's there, the offense itself looks different. So that's why I'm not worried, but I'm more curious what it looks like when we play this version of this team in terms of like the highly dynamic guard play. Because we played the Spurs in the past, but they didn't have Fox. They didn't have Dylan Harper before this year. When we played them anyway. Maybe we played them with Fox once at the end of last season, but again, no Wemby because he was injured at the end of last year. He had the deep vein thrombosis, right? But with this game, I wanted to talk a little bit about both Jokic and Jamal here. So I'm trying to figure out how I should order this. Let's talk about Jokic first, because I've got a couple of plays by him, including like a nice assist from Jamal and how he did in this game, how he's been doing since the injury. So let's go to the Jamal to a cutting Jokic for free throws. So Jokic doesn't get the bucket here, but he gets fouled on this shot attempt.
Wait, which?
Jamal to cutting Jokic.
Oh, we're going on to Jamal?
Yes. Because we're going to talk about Spencer at the end of the
all right, we're going to talk about Spencer next.
So you've got Christian setting a nice early screen and semi-transition. Love when we get to things early. Wish Yo could have made this with his left because it was otherwise an easy shot, but for the fact that it was with his left hand. But he gets fouled on the shot, and this was just a nice pass by Jamal that I wanted to point out. And then we can go to Jokic's transition floater. Whoop.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I really think Jokic's touch has been back. Like, I know people were kind of worried about that after he came back from injury, needed to get into shape. But man, like, even in the Knicks loss when we got destroyed, like, his touch looked good. And I was like, wow, Jokic looks back to me.
I'm glad that you point that out because that's what I wanted to talk about here with a couple of stats, and maybe I'll just while we're talking about it, look up really quickly with a different date range. But I wanted to compare how Jokic's both the floater and the 3-point shot, because that has been a real issue over the last couple of weeks, have been doing since he came back from injury. Now on the floater, pre-injury, Jokic was shooting his absurd 62.8% from floater range. I'm basing this on stats from the NBA's website on paint non-restricted area shots. That's where he takes his floaters from. Sometimes he takes a midi from there too, but it's more often that he's taking a floater than a jumper from inside the paint there. 63% basically from floater range pre-injury. Since coming back from injury, how much worse do you think it is? Because it is worse, right? And that's including this most recent stretch, like over the last couple of weeks. But how much worse do you think it's been since injury? If you could put a number to it.
What was he before?
62.8.
Oh man. Is he like 55?
It's 53.3%. It's pretty bad for him. This is like, this is the crazy thing is like everyone was going like crazy over Jalen Brunson shooting 56% from floater range a couple of seasons ago when he got fifth in MVP voting, which is absurd, frankly, for anybody, including Jokic. But by his standards, it has been subpar. And I'm glad that you bring up that it has looked a lot better in the very recent games, because the date cutoff that I had from that is since February 1st. That's when he came back. That was when we played the Thunder. So this excludes the Clippers game, I think, that preceded that. But if I look from March 1st, he's shooting 64% on even more attempts from that range, by the way, on 7.6 attempts per game. It's around like 6 on the season, or in the 6s on the season. So he takes a lot of shots from there. That's the other reason that you need it to be efficient, is that Jokic doesn't take quite as many layups as other guys his size. So like he kind of needs the floater range to be crazy efficient, just because of the volume that he takes from there. But usually that's not an issue. And it's like, well, it's like an unguardable shot and it's from that, and it's crazy efficient. So is the touch coming back from at least floater range? I don't know. But let's talk about the three, because the drop off has been significant. Pre-injury, Jokic was shooting 43.1%. And I only looked at above the break threes, not all threes, because he doesn't really take many from the corner. Less than half a three per game if you look at the per game stats. 43.1% above the break threes pre-injury. How much worse do you think it is post-injury?
I don't know. I was going to say like 30% or something.
That's pretty close. 29.5. So not great. And even when I, apply this new date cutoff of like, how's it been the last couple? Because I mean, this matches the eye test. He hasn't really been making threes even more recently, as he has been playing better, and looking more comfortable offensively. It's around 26% on those shots.
I don't know if like his wrist is a part of it too, or what.
But the floater is going in, so like,
yeah,
we can't be blaming the wrist for everything. Hopefully the floater, you think it's like a leading indicator?
Yeah, it's like the floater touch coming back.
Yeah.
Then the three can follow, hopefully.
I like the optimism. I like this take.
I just always see Jokic figure it out. Like, I know people were really worried when he came back from injury that like he was going to be bad. And I said, I'm not worried at all about him. He'll figure it out. He's never not. So, I mean, there are times when his three has been bad in the playoffs, but since he kind of figured it out, his shot's been there. I mean, I'm not saying it's automatically going to come back, but he made like a tweak. He talked about it in that interview. I don't know if you watched the Serbian interview, but that was like 2 hours long. How he like made one tweak to a shot, and it didn't take long for his three to raise up in percentage. He didn't say what it was though. He refused.
That one weird trick. Dang, yeah. He's not going to share the one weird trick. The one weird trick that Nikola Jokic doesn't want you to know about, or how to improve your 3-point shot.
Yeah.
Or how he improved his.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dahlia is bringing it up in the chat. Yeah. I don't know what he did.
I need to watch that full interview. I have seen the clips that have circulated, but I was like, okay, I got to read captions for 2 hours. I need to be in like the mental space. That might be like a weekend.
It's a long one.
A weekend project. But it seemed like it was really thorough. And whenever you get an interview in your native tongue, it's going to be just better because he probably rarely gets to speak about like these topics in his native language versus in English. It's like the language that he tends to be asked about, asked basketball questions about in anyway. Dahlia says, I want to know what's wrong with his wrist. Same, but we're never going to, because they don't tell us these things. Yeah, the Nugget. Yeah, we're not going to get into that one today. Vyacheslav says we need to ask the Lakers what they think about Yoke's threes. I feel like
That's so.
they don't want him to take them either because JJ's really big on the veer switching with Jokic. She's like, I'm not going to just give him. It's not like the Spurs where they were just giving him those pick and pop threes that he was missing. I think that they do a decent job of veer switching. JJ generally, though, always wants a body attached to Nikola Jokic in like any part of him, like the front, the back, like contesting, like making everything difficult. So they don't feel good about any shot that Jokic takes, is my guess. So I agree. I hope that the floater touch is a leading indicator for how the 3-point touch is gonna go. At this point, every three he makes feels like found money. Yeah, so that's definitely another situation to monitor. But let's talk about Jamal Murray. And the reason I pair these two together is because we had a couple games there in the first half of Statement Fortnite, where it felt like Yoke and Jamal like together were just not good enough. And you could argue about like who played better, which game and or not, but it was clear by the end of a game like the Thunder game, for example. It was like, well, when it came down to things getting close, you guys were just not doing enough to get us over the hump at the end of these games. And I pair these two together because ultimately the postseason success of this team completely hinges on these two being not just good enough, but great enough, because the team is built around their ability to be great, right? We don't have other creation from the perimeter. We don't have bigs that are going to usurp Jokic in the rotation. We have players that are meant to fill in the gaps around those guys, and they need to still be primarily the guys, even if you've got Cam. Like, let's say Cam is playing out of his mind, you still need Jokic and Jamal to be Jokic and Jamal in order to, to get them over the hump against these great teams come the postseason. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, just real quick, because I know we're going to go into Murray hitting some clutch shots and all that, but do you want to say something quick about anything you thought of Jokic's defense?
Oh, yes. It was awesome. I thought it was awesome. There was definitely some stuff where it's like the drop still, like he just still sucks in the drop. I like, even in the plays that resulted in like stops, it was really like on the point of attack guy. I think that Jokic can just do so much more that he's not, even with his athletic limitations. I think like you can't be caught in no man's land as often as he is, for example, in those plays, and the layups are coming too easy. And I get like he doesn't want to foul because of like who he is and his importance to the team, but there are so many instances where I feel like, did we have to just let that guy score, right? But other than that, like I loved, like in the Rockets game too, and in the Spurs game, when Jokic is playing at the level lately, like it's good, like it is very good, and we look like a good team. And it's not just because of the rotations on the backside, but the fact that he's playing at the level with active hands and giving the guys in the back an opportunity to, like giving the defense a chance, to get in position there, and also forcing deflections, forcing steals. There was some really good, we're going to talk about when we get to Spencer, but Jokic is part of this too. Plays on the ball in these blitz and like hard hedge situations where you're able to really disrupt the ball handler. Whether you force the turnover or not, you're just able to completely slow down their offense, force them to reset a little bit. And I think Jokic has been really active when he plays at the level lately. And it's funny because a lot of people were like, well, why do we always do this? Why do we always play this coverage? It's like, well, when we play it well, that's when Jokic looks his best, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like, you don't want to spam it. Malone wanted to spam it. Ryan Saunders wanted to spam it. Well, there's a reason for that. Poppin'. So they can't use drop at all in the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, they can't use it the way that they've been using it, which is as a rest tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got to be a little bit more active in that as well. But I like trying to force some players into mid-range jumpers or tougher floaters. It just doesn't always happen a lot. And a lot of people can figure out if they keep driving, even with Jokic and drop, they could probably still get around him. But yeah, he's been super active on the level lately. Like we were talking about it in the chat too. After that bad challenge where the call didn't go our way with Jokic, he was really mad and he was playing really active on defense. And that's what it's all about, is disrupting the ball at the level, because there's going to be a free roller. Someone's going to have to tag. Someone's going to have to rotate. But if you can muck up that first action with the ball, that gives our defense a chance to do it. And there's been all these Nuggets journalists and people talking about how Jokic tends to play better defensively, and his numbers are even better when it's against better teams. So there is the theory that like against other teams he's resting more. Maybe we're doing zone, maybe we're doing drop, maybe we're letting him off the hook where he's saving energy. We've seen all kinds of all-time great players do that in the past, like LeBron, like taking rests on defense and stuff. But when the playoff comes, I think he'll be a lot more active on defense most
like
of the
40.
time, I hope. Well, like this was even like when he was on the Cavs, he was doing, people were talking about him.
That's true, but that Cavs team was terrible defensively too, though.
Yeah.
So you gotta. It's like what's the standard here? They were still able to run through the East. I don't think we can run through the West that way. But yeah, like you can obviously be an all-time great player and be bad at defense. There's several of them up there. Yes, some of your favorites, guys. Yeah, okay, so the last thing I want to say on the defense is that friend of the show, Matt Moore, over at his Denver Dig Substack, has a post from, I think it's either last week or the week before, on Denver's defense this season. And it made it pretty like clear that the zone just kind of sucks. Like they suck in the zone, whether AG's on the floor or not. The post was largely about comparing like what the impact of AG on the defense. But the man coverage is like pretty good even without him, and it goes to great with him. And they haven't been playing as much, and that's a function of, again, like they were using the zone to rest, right? I don't think they haven't been playing as much zone, and there are certain games where I actually think it would have been more prudent in larger quantities. For example, the Thunder game, at least like certain variants of the zone, and they would use it for like stretches, but it was like very like half-assed, and then it just didn't work out. The Wolves game, I think, would have also been an interesting opportunity for that, but they've been playing a lot more man coverage. Blitzing a lot more, just more aggressive coverages overall since the All-Star break that I wanted to point out. And it started off pretty well. Like, even though they were losing games, like they were much better defensively than they'd been for basically the entirety of the rest of the season. Then we had the Knicks game and we had the Thunder game. And it is more questionable. Even the Spurs game in the first half was like, ugh. Did think it was better in the second half, and we're going to talk about some of the individual contributions to that. I don't think that it was necessarily a schematic thing in this instance against the Spurs, because it was very much a like they finally got their legs under them in the second half and then like used them, right? To just play harder and execute better, be a lot more again like aggressive in the coverages that they were employing, that they had been employing really all game. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about Jokic's defense.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Jamal, because he was incredible in this game. 39 points, 7 assists, I believe. I didn't check out the rebounds because it wasn't notable. It was very much a Jokic, please rebound for us kind of game from the team here. Oh, that's the Rockets box from like 12. I think he had 20. He had 20 rebounds against the Spurs. Jamal, though, really, really, really tough first half. Like many on the team, frankly. Right? But he's Jamal. He's held to a higher standard. And the shots that he was taking in the first half were the same as the shots that he always takes. He wasn't taking as many. That was a big thing, is he was a lot more aggressively the guy who the play was for in the second half of this game. And I think part of it was there were so many instances of Denver having trouble either getting Jokic the ball because the Spurs were employing those fronts, full fronts and three-quarter fronts, causing deflections, causing turnovers. And Jamal turned the ball over definitely himself, even in the first half of this game. He finished the game with 4, which is not great. But in the second half, and I think this has to do with what we talked about last week with how well Jamal is able to navigate those coverages on Jokic where the other team is dead set on keeping a body on Jokic regardless of what it means for the ball handler. And obviously the guy who's guarding Jamal is like, I gotta try to stick to him and either trail him or whatever, but it puts the defense in a compromising position. And I just think that Jamal was really well equipped and continues to be because he's just such a highly skilled and versatile player to deal with that that amount of pressure both on him and also navigating the space that is ceded to him by the defense by virtue of how they're guarding Jokic in their 2-man actions. So let's get to the shots finally. Let's start with the layup through contact.
What was that one called?
Layup through contact.
Oh, just layup through contact.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see it.
It should be under the Jamal section. It should be under or after the yoke transition floater.
I don't have that one.
Okay. Do you have the finger roll hook?
Yes.
Okay. So this is just like a nice. Oh, got a little.
Sorry.
If you could replay that one. Sorry. All right, we get the rebound. Spurs had a lot of like weird fluky misses at the rim in this game, I will say. Jamal just has this nice like finger roll layup through contact. And this is again at the part of the game where you're like, just keep it close, just keep ourselves in it. Don't let the game get away from you. Every time we get a stop, we have to really try to put the ball in the basket because you don't want empty possessions down the floor. And they had a number of empty possessions in that first half as they kept getting called for like these BS screening fouls and having both live and other dead ball turnovers. And so even if the Spurs weren't scoring on the other end, it's like, well, that's another wasted offensive possession for us. So these kinds of plays were really important. And then let's go to the clutch shots then next. If you could go to the clutch turnaround push shot, this was just like nasty. And he has this in his bag, but this is the kind of shot you only see like once every 20 games, right? Spins through 2 defenders while Jokic is kind of screening his man out of the play. So Jamal's able to get off a clean look, but this is not an easy shot to make. Still takes it with his right hand, despite Castle there, trailing him and able to get like a decent rear contest. And like, honestly, probably should have been able to block it, but he's trying to get the ball. It's too late. Like, this was just incredible. Like, this shot itself was incredible.
You'd think he would have to have seen what the defense was going to do ahead of time to know he could spin through that gap and finish leaning that way.
I think he knew he was going to have just enough space because Kornet, even when he plays up, doesn't play that far up. So he was going to be backpedaling, ceding some ground. And it was really a matter of like, can I beat Castle well enough? And he did. And that was close because Castle could have stripped the ball from him there on that spin move, but didn't. Right.
Okay.
Here,
I have that layup if you want to go.
Okay, yeah, if you go to the layup through contact. So high screen set from Yoke. He's got, is that Carter Bryant guarding him? I don't think he has any idea what he's supposed to be doing because he gets screened by his own man here. He gets screened by Keldon Johnson. And then despite Fox stunting, Jamal like still has to pick up the ball, pick up his dribble probably a little bit earlier than he'd want to because of that, and is still like, oh my god, this is just so fluid. Like, yeah, this shot was athletic. So fluid. It was like, this This is what the hoops lovers love, myself included. Like, that
Yeah,
was
and we're gonna
beautiful.
see with these other shots too. I mean, despite playing against athletic guards on defense, who Jamal can struggle with sometimes. I'd say more so when he's injured, like against the Wolves and Jaden McDaniels, and even Ant can just shut him down. But those are good defenders who are quick. Jamal still
And
sometimes can just
strong. Like,
make
those are like, Ant has like such a
yeah.
strong base. Like, he's not just even McDaniels. Like, I'm less worried about McDaniels on Jamal than Ant on Jamal because of that.
Yeah, because
And
of the
Jaden
strength.
sometimes he put on skates because he's a little bit more lanky, kind of like Peyton. Uh,
Yeah, and it's just this is like peak Jamal when doesn't matter what defense they're running necessarily. Like he can just go to a move that he practices all the time, whether it's like a turnaround at the elbow or whatever, in the key, and just a little midi fade away game winner over AD against the Lakers. Like he can do that, and so we needed it from him last night. I know it wasn't a great start, but we need to start winning these games. We cannot slip in the seedings. It's really important. So
Speaking of the game winner over AD, but Jamal like basically recreated that shot with this smothered midi over Cornette in the clutch. If you could bring that one up. When I saw the contest that Cornette gets on this shot, and he does, so Jamal comes off for the handoff, just completely throws FSL off guard. And like Cornette seeds space, but I feel like he closes that gap very well to get a decent contest on this shot. And I thought it was going to miss. And when I saw it go in the way that it did, I actually thought that it like grazed the rim and just like it looked like it just hit the net, like on the outside. But it just like swoosh, right? It was
yeah, it was
pure.
so clean.
I don't even think it hit the rim.
The rhythm was just on another level.
Yeah. And then the shot that I think won them the game, the clutch turnaround floater again off of the 2-man game. They veer switch. He's got Cornette on him on an island. Not won them the game. I guess this wasn't at the end. This was just like earlier. And just like, what even was this? Right? This is what Jamal looked like when he was going against Kyle Filipowski. Right?
He just sneaks the release of that floater.
Yeah.
Wasn't a high floater, but just kind of pushed it just to get it off, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. That's the thing with Jamal's shots. And like the whole Jamal is a scorer. I feel like Jamal, you know how they say like so and so is your favorite hooper's favorite hooper. And I don't know how many professional basketball players for whom Jamal is their favorite player. But he's got to be top 3 on a lot of guys' lists to watch because the depth of this guy's bag is insane. And we talk about this all the time when discussing Jamal, how like what makes him different than other guards in ways that are both good and bad. He does not have like that one unguardable thing that he does that he can just go to, like, you know, SGA in that, like, you know, shoulder shimmy midi. And now he's, you know, using it to get off step back threes, which is like terrifying. Although, you know, with less consistency than you'd, you know, necessarily want for that to be your go-to, which, you know, may be our saving grace. But the good thing and the bad thing about Jamal never knowing what he's going to do on an offensive possession is like he doesn't know what he wants to do, but neither does the defense, right? It's like the president said about what we're doing overseas. It's like we don't know what we're doing, and they don't either. In so many words. Dahlia, I think he pisses them off. You know what's funny? There are so many stories of players just getting completely pissed off about like crazy shots, like just the shots that like Jokic takes. I don't really see players talk about Jamal stuff that way, even except Lakers fans, actually. Lakers fans in particular are like, dude, F this guy. But they don't like, I feel like we don't get as much of that for Jamal as is warranted, because when you see these kinds of plays, you have to be like, dude, what the hell? Like, what were we supposed to do there? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like he has those 50-point games with no free throws and whatever. It's just like a lot of just tough shot making and not getting fouls, just scoring jump shots, layups, sometimes crazy layup finishes that are like spins or reverse under the basket, and you'd think he would be exciting, but I don't know. I don't know how the league views him. It's a good point
He
that he
actually
should
got
be.
15 free throw attempts in this game.
Oh
He was
yeah, yeah.
driving a
Him and
lot.
Jokic had a lot kind
He
of
was
throughout the
driving a
game.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, Yoke had 11. It's
yeah.
funny. Yeah, but Jamal was driving to the basket a lot. That was definitely something. And we got in the bonus a lot too, which definitely helped. Nuggets lost the trade, says his post footwork for a guard makes him insane. I think only Jamal and Kyrie have a post bag as a guard. I think Jalen Brunson too is definitely up there. For just speaking on the post footwork. But in terms of the pure versatility, I think only Kyrie is like in that tier, or you could arguably above it when it comes to Jamal. In terms of guys that are active right now. Because you see this stuff and you're like, I never see other players play like this, right? The other players kill us for sure, but they do it in like these, like repeatable ways. Whereas like some of these shots, and it's crazy because Jamal does make some of them sometimes, like multiple times. But you see some of these shots and you're like, he's never going to make that shot again. GP of St. John says, could you bring that up? Matt Moore asked if Jamal is the most ethical hooper in the NBA. I mean, he's bad at drawing free throws. Yes, that makes him super ethical. Who's the most ethical hooper in the NBA? He doesn't complain as much when he doesn't get the calls because he just never does it. He just never gets them. Yeah,
Halliburton.
That makes him pretty ethical. Halliburton is also bad at drawing free throws. Yes, so that is the definition of an ethical hooper. I guess Hallie would have it on him because Jamal did throw the heat pack, and that is unethical behavior. How much could Jamal average if he pushed off like Shea? Well, Jamal's not as big, so if he's trying to push somebody off, he's going to be like putting his shoulder closer to their center of gravity, so it's not going to be as effective as where Shea's shoulder is higher on the person, so it'll more easily get them off balance. I mean, Jamal can try, but I just don't think that is like he'd have to be practicing that for a while and know exactly like the contact points on different defenders to do that for. So how much could he average? I don't know, honestly, because I don't know that Jamal wants to take the same shot over and over again at this point. Like he's had such a creative scoring career that I don't know that that he would change his very diverse shot diet now if he did have like one unguardable thing. We've seen like the step back three has the possibility of being that, and he still doesn't really spam that, even in instances where he could and arguably should. All right, so that was Jamal. Couple other things from this game before we get to the most important player besides Jamal in this game. Julian, I think, had some really nice buckets with the bench, both early. I can't remember if he played it all in the fourth quarter, but I think he did play a couple minutes. But early in the game in the first half, Julian had some really big buckets, just a floater and a layup, like driving layup to keep the game from getting out of hand too early. Julian did play in the fourth quarter because we've got a clip of him later making a nice three that I will show. And then wanted to point out a couple of possessions from when Jokic was being fronted that were issues in this game. Let's go to the Tim turnover. Another turnover from Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm like, please stop giving him too many responsibilities. Like, just give him open shots, which that was the intent here, but it was like, oh no, he's got to pass it back. I thought the Spurs did just a good job there. Just, my gosh, bested by Harrison Barnes. Yeah. That, also, like, that ball would have been intercepted by De'Aaron Fox even if Barnes hadn't deflected it because Jamal was not there anymore. when Tim tried to throw it. So that was a bad one. But if you could go back to the clip, you can see the initial issue here is Jamal wants to get the ball to Jokic. He's being fronted by Devin Vassell. While Jamal's being guarded by Castle. I'm very proud of myself for not mixing those two up while we're going over this film. And it's not because they look similar. They don't. But they have the exact same hairstyle and general body builds. Okay. So when I can't see their faces, it's like I was getting confused a lot while watching the game live. It's like, why is Devin Vassell guarding Jokic so much? But here, fronting him while De'Aaron Fox plays free safety in the zone. He does a good job closing out on Jamal here, because otherwise I'd say like Jamal take that shot. But you can see like Fox closes that ground pretty well. So this was like a really good, I think, defensive rep from the Spurs, not just because they were resulting turnover, because they got us so deep in the clock. So didn't love how deep we got into the clock while we were still trying to front Jokic, or start getting Jokic the ball while he was fronted. But it was also just good defense by the Spurs there, I think. Because if Fox doesn't close the ground the way that he does, you're giving Jamal Murray, regardless of if he makes the shot or not, you're giving Jamal Murray an open pull-up three. And he's a really good pull-up three-point shooter, right? But they don't cede that ground either, because Fox, closes out the way that he does in that moment. The other one I wanted to point out is I want you to pay attention to how Christian reacts while Yoke is kind of being fronted by his own guy. So his guy is kind of ignoring him, and I think that's Devin Vassell. And so now, then he kind of follows him, but you can see here, like if this is Jamal, like Jamal's just pulling up for the midi, and they're able to switch Cornet back. So you get this missed Jokic three, and I think this results in, I think Spencer ends up getting the putback here after, or not the putback, but off the offensive rebound from Cam. But I didn't love how Christian is still at this point where he doesn't know what he should be doing when Jokic is fronted, because his only thought process is get Jokic the ball. Like I'm like, run a handoff, get Jokic the ball, run a handoff, make this entry pass, like try to move my guy away, try to make the entry pass. And that is another situation to monitor, because so many teams are employing this defensive strategy against Nikola Jokic now. So thank you, JJ Redick, for putting all of this on film last year for the world to see, for us other podcasters to break down. That's all he was doing, Will, is looking out for the podcasters. He's like, yes. Oh, if Jokic is just dominating everything, that's not as interesting for the pod tent. So,
although it might be.
I mean, for us, yeah, but in aggregate. Yeah. So this is not just it's not just a Christian thing. Like, it's a Nuggets thing. They need to figure out what they do in these situations as go-tos, because Jamal being able to improvise the way that he does facing that exact same situation is not what you should have to expect from Christian, from Tim, from even Cam, right? Like, he's just not that kind of player. And he wasn't even like in his best seasons. Like, he can do some on-ball creation, but like that's a really high level of improvisation against like a really idiosyncratic defensive coverage that you just like haven't seen in your career, because like how often is the other team like giving you open driving lanes while trying to like semi cut them off, and like one guy is completely ignoring you for the big. It's weird. And then like teams have like added their own variations of like where the third or like second and a half like help defender is going to come in that situation. And I think Denver needs to do a better job of building in some automatic counters to that, so that guys like Christian don't have to think too much in the situation that they're going to encounter repeatedly. So I'm very curious about what Adelman is going to do about that, because we are at a point in the season where you maybe would have hoped that we would have seen some more direct counters to that, other than Jamal go be sensational, right?
Yeah. I feel like there was a little bit less of the issue against the Rockets. I know they weren't playing the most convincing game, but
They were not. They were not.
Yeah. So, but at least it was like more natural. Like the offense looked super, like, Jokic barely scored in that game. Everything was flowing really well. So yeah, we need to figure that out.
Yeah, that's all we've got to say. Like, we don't have a solution. We're just podcasters. That's why JJ Redick became a head coach and we didn't. That's
yeah. Although I am coaching now. No,
that's true.
13-year-olds.
You are coaching now, which is arguably more difficult. I mean, someone can argue it somewhere.
Yeah, true.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, so on that play, I actually had a note there that Cam does save that play with that offensive rebound that he got. I thought it was a play where Spencer ends up getting the push shot. Actually, the ball makes its way to Christian in the corner for 3. But it's like, okay, these can't just be broken plays anymore when it's not Jamal. We have to figure out a way to have some more. And sometimes, like, guys, like, you have those, like, scrappy possessions where guys, like, gut it out and they, like, figure out a way to get a bucket on that possession, too. But I want to see more, like, here's our automatic counter to that for this coverage. And it's weird, and it's weird, and it's only been employed in volume for a short period of time, like a year, basically, right? Which is not a lot of time to have been facing this coverage compared to what else Denver has been seeing against Jokic, either with Jamal on the floor or not, since he was drafted, right? But it's like, okay, that's your job. You got to figure something out there. All right, let's talk about the MIP, and I don't mean most improved player. I mean most important player in this game. To an actual win was Spencer Jones. I want to talk about Spencer more broadly, and then we'll get into the Spurs game. Spencer has played 20 plus minutes, or he had played 20 plus minutes in almost all of the games that he played between December and January, in all but 2 games in January specifically, right? Up to that point in the season. Minutes got more sporadic leading up to him running out of his 50 allotted games while he was still on his 2-way contract. But even after his standard contract, he was not playing that much. I think he played like he had some DNPs even after signing the standard deal, and played 2 minutes in one game and 10 minutes in another, right? Played 26 minutes versus Boston after being, like I said, a DNP in 4 straight games, including, like, I counted the 2 minutes that he played against that previous OKC game as a DNP because he only played 2 minutes. Like, he got in some foul trouble, and Adelman he never saw the floor again. This was a game, I believe, that OKC game, I think they were also lacking Cam. I think Cam was still out at that point. And I remember just being, like, incensed because I'm like, we have no forwards left, and DA was only playing Spencer 2 minutes. I thought that was insane. And we're going to talk about that too after we get through the Spencer conversation, the lineup stuff. Played only 10 minutes versus New York. See a trend? Spencer barely plays. We lose the game, right? I mean, I don't know that Spencer playing more in that game would have
saved us.
They were shooting 8% from 3. It was bad. And he, even in the most recent OKC game, he only played 16 minutes, right? Again, in a game where Cam was back, but no AG, no Peyton. We play a lot of 4-guard lineups. But during this back-to-back, he played 20 minutes versus Houston, 33 minutes versus San Antonio. My question to you, Will Spencer be in the rotation? Let's just we'll talk regular season and playoffs separately. Will he be in the rotation when both AG and Peyton are like AG's back, but he didn't play last night, but back in the rotation fully.
I think he will in the regular season. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
is that what you're more interested in?
I mean, we'll talk about the playoffs.
I know the
but
playoffs is limited, so that's a different discussion. But I think with Pwat coming off his hamstring, I don't know if he's going to have a minutes restriction or not, so there might still be a need. But I think regardless, him and AG are still nursing hamstrings. So it would be surprising to me if Spencer just saw no playing time on the floor. Like, we do need guys to help stay afloat, I think. Yeah. Playoffs, I don't know. I mean, the chat is heavily debating how much playing time Spencer will get. We do have a lack of forwards. He can play the forward position. He can even play some center in a small ball lineup, like we kind of saw when we put him out there for a small ball lineup against the old Nugget, Mason Plumlee, and kind of shock the Spurs in this game, which we will look at for sure. What do you think? What is your prediction for Spencer minutes?
When Peyton's back, I think he'll probably be playing no more than 15 minutes. And that's like a high in the regular season. Playoffs come along, I just don't think he's going to be playing every night. I've heard people, especially after this last game, talking about Spencer as an every night player. I would love for Spencer to be an every night player in the playoffs, by the way. This is not an assessment of Spencer or like where I think he fits in this rotation. It's more an assessment really on how I think David Adelman sees this rotation based on what he's done to this point. Angry Old Hoops fan says, if we don't play him in the playoffs, we are cooked. We need him for small ball 5, and he's our best screen navigator. Okay, I wouldn't say we need him for small ball 5 necessarily. We literally just saw that for the second time this season in like a decent, like not decent, but like single game sample size. There was the one game when everybody was injured. It was sometime in January. Do you remember which game it was? They ended up closing with Spencer at 5. I think it was against Philly in overtime that they went with Spencer at small ball 5.
I don't remember.
We have won other games this season without playing Spencer at small ball 5. But I mean, you make a good point because Val has been incredibly shaky, and we already kind of went into the season thinking this isn't going to be a guy that's going to be playing in like playoff rotation minutes necessarily. And even if you were planning on playing AG at backup big, it's like, well, we still need another forward next to him that we just don't have in a way that we had in Uncle Jeff Green in 2023 to just be a big body to just play next to guys in those minutes. Are you going to ask AG to play small ball 5 around 4 guards largely, or like guard wing hybrids? Vyacheslav said Spencer's not above Tim, Bruce, and Pwat. I think the Bruce thing is still a question. I think that if you look at their seasons as a whole, and like I said, Bruce has been, or as I've said in previous shows, Bruce has been a lot better lately. But if you look at their seasons as a whole, they're pretty close. And then Bruce has the edge of like being a vet that like they just trust, right? So I'm not saying that that's what I would do if I was building the rotations. I'm just saying like based on past behavior of David Adelman, this is another situation to monitor. But I want to talk about what Spencer has been doing over the last couple of games, because he has kind of, the reintegration has been kind of shaky. Like I said, he has been fouling a lot. And I think that Ryan Blackburn, another friend of the show, pointed this out really, or said it really well last night on the Locked On Nuggets post game, that a lot of Spencer's foul issues are more a factor of reputation than like technique. And I agree with that. Dahlia says he's absolutely above Bruce. I mean, yes, in the eyes of the coaches and probably the players too. Because that's just how it goes. Or the opposite, actually the opposite. I agree with Dahlia. If I was building the rotation, I would say Spencer is above Bruce. So, but the opposite in the case of the coaches. what was I talking about? Spencer. He's been good.
Spencer.
But he's been good the last
more.
couple of games though. And his energy and just general, like his energy is not the word. Motor is the word. Because this guy just keeps going. Literal just Energizer Bunny. The kind of energy that you saw from like prime Bruce Brown or even Russell Westbrook last year, where they just kept going and going. Except I think Spencer is a little bit more like technically sound than even Bruce at his best. Certainly more than Russ. So he's not like taking a lot of gambles. But he just plays really aggressive, especially defensively. But I wanted to point out a combination of stuff that he's done offensively as well in this discussion, because he's just been like, I'm going to be in the right place, whether I'm going to take the shot, whether I make it or not. Vyacheslav says Spencer can't handle the ball, can't create a shot for him. This is very important. Spencer doesn't get enough credit for how smart he is offensively. Again, I agree with you, Denver Thugget. So we have a lot of mixed assessments of how Spencer fits into the rotation in the chat. I like this. It's creative discussion here. But let's talk about how Spencer does fit on offense. And I think the point about Spencer not being a creator is even like theoretically, because you can even like kind of squint and say like, Tim can like make his own shots sometimes. You can't really say that about Spencer. He has to fit within the flow of the offense, right? And that I think is what DA is thinking and banking everything on when he's making some of these rotation decisions. All right, let's get to the clips. Let's start with the shovel to Val. Really nice shovel pass from Spencer here under the rim on this is from the Rockets game. Pick and roll. Cam runs pick and roll with Val, and Val gets the ball to Spencer, cutting, and Spencer's able to get him the ball back when the Rockets collapse on him. Again, super lazy defense by the Rockets here. You would expect like Alpi sees Spencer cutting, and either he or KD gets a body on Spencer. They did not do that. They just kind of.
And they both go to Spencer too. No one said
it's Val, really oh god, the communication vibes are so bad with that team. It's like
these clips painful. Are making me more like I really was like high on this Rockets win, and now I'm like seeing these mistakes. But whatever, like, I'm still taking it. Good wins, Nuggets.
We take the wins. I wanted to point out a shot that actually it's a defense on a shot that went in. You go to the contest on Tari. So Tari makes this transition layup. But Spencer does his best to try to like, prevent the pass to Aaron Holiday, and still contest the shot. This might have been called a foul, even though I don't think it is. I think that his arm is on the ball pretty clearly here. Yeah, like he doesn't really touch Tari. But he gets a great vertical contest. That was just a really tough shot by Tari. Like this might have been a save in transition. And he's like, the thing I love about Spencer defensively the most, honestly, in contrast to the rest of the team, is that he does not give up on plays. He is fighting through everything. And it's most notable in transition because Denver is a team that tends to give up on like, we got a live ball turnover. Other guys just going down the floor and they can dunk it. They can lay it up. They can do whatever they want. Uncontested. We're not going to foul them and like make them earn it at the line, anything like that. It's the team. Like they don't want to foul. They don't want to give guys free throws, I guess, whatever. But it's like, well, they're going to get 2 points anyway. So I really appreciated that play and I wanted to include it even though the shot went in. Let's go to the steal and shovel to Bruce in transition. So this was not a steal that I would attribute necessarily to Spencer. He does shoot the gap, but like very lazy pass there. And my goodness, like that pass, every time I see it is like faster and faster each time. This shovel pass to Bruce under the rim in transition. But that's Amen. I mean, like that was off target. That might have just gone out of bounds if Spencer hadn't jumped in there to get it. And I love that two other guys were running down the floor with him and not just trusting him to try to make a contested layup. That is Bruce and Tim both running there to give Spencer an outlet for when that shot gets contested. And so that was kind of the beginning of it.
Yeah, the speed in the open court and him being active on the weak side, even just to like be alert and pick up the ball. It's all you can ask for. And making, like, I've seen a lot of Nuggets mess up transition passes that are much harder than that one. So yeah.
I've seen them mess up transition passes that were easier than that one. I mean, that pass was
That's
not an easy pass, but like the geometry was very easy. Like you basically
that's what I
have
meant. Easier passes.
Yeah. I mean, including Spencer, because I think we've got a botched lob pass somewhere in here by him in transition. So, but I want to talk more about his game against the Spurs because he was just like insane. He had 19 points. I think he had 3 steals and 2 blocks. No, 2 steals and 2 blocks in this game. On top of that, 4 rebounds. So pretty good do everything stat line. He did start in this game, so that contributes to the now 6 remaining, I believe, or I guess 5 remaining starts that he can have before the qualifying offer to keep him a restricted free agent this summer would increase. That is, say it with me, Will, a situation to monitor. No, you didn't say it with me.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say because we want to duck the tax. I didn't know what phrase you were going for.
No, it's just another situation. There's so many things that we're just like, well, that's interesting. I wonder, how the trend is going to proceed because this team is still at such a point where we don't really know who they are. We've just caught glimpses. And part of who they are is a team that is trying to keep Spencer as cheap as possible next year. So again, a situation to monitor. All right. So let's start with how Spencer started this game, which was with a banked 3. Nice relocation as Yoke is being not double teamed here, but like, okay, I can't get to the rim. Christian's not open under the basket either. Spin, finds Spencer for that nice above the break 3, banked it in. And it was interesting because he usually doesn't try to bank shots. He doesn't call bank.
I don't think
there were
a
couple of banked in threes from both teams in this game, by the way. I think he did because there's no way he was aiming for the rim there. It was like a high off the square. It was like on the high part of the square.
I just like him. Like what pros ever try to bank a 3?
Well, I think that it was either Stephon Castle or Devin Vassell. I don't remember because I was just watching the game in real time. And again, the hair definitely called bank on one of the shots that the Spurs made in the first half. And I was like, that one was like above the square into like directly into the basket. And I think it was Castle because I remember thinking like this guy's not really like a shooter. So I think it was Castle. And then he had another one where he missed the rim entirely. Right. So there's a balance to be struck there. On that note, on banking shots, by the way, I believe it's the Korean national basketball team. I was reading this about during the World Cup a couple years ago. They train their players to bank in free throws, and they have like an 80% free throw rate percentage as a team, which is really high as a team. So none of them are like 90% free throw shooters, but they're all like high 70s, low to mid 80s. And it's like a more reliable. But I don't think that applies for threes, by the way. It's just what I was thinking of as I saw all the banked shots in this. Because Jamal had one too. It was kind of a crazy game. All right, back to Spencer, though. Let's go to the transition putback. And this was I believe this was more of like a semi-transition thing. Okay. So everybody's back in the half court. Tim, like, kind of a wild layup attempt, honestly. Like Tim probably should have made that. But Spencer doesn't give up on the play. Comes in here, sees that it's not going to go in. Fox falls asleep. Spencer takes advantage and gets this putback. And this would have just been a defensive rebound for Harrison Barnes if Spencer hadn't jumped in there just because of where the ball was rolling off. So point on the board, right? Let's go to the push shot, which is this like random shot that is like a patented thing apparently by Spencer. Not literally patented, he didn't invent it, but this is a regular thing that Spencer has gone to this season that I didn't really know was in his bag in terms of something that he's just comfortable going to from the middle of the floor. He's got Cornette there, just goes for that giant killer and nails it.
That's a
right?
crazy floater
Flashes
that I
to the
wouldn't
middle
expect.
of the zone. And it wasn't like a short floater either. Like sometimes he gets like a short but that
That
was
is a hard to make shot.
yes.
This is like when Julian was talking
And
about
he's
how
got
he always
soft
has this
touch
floater.
because it always like bounces off the rim and like, is it Kareem or Kareem's kind of
Kareem.
it careens into the net. Whenever it sometimes it misses, like it can roll off. It's never like a swish. It's not like a Jokic floater, but although he has soft touch too, and sometimes those also careen in. But Spencer's usually when he makes it, even it's like a boop, and like it's a very soft. He has very soft touch. Just like shocking given his 3-point shooting form. Honestly,
we are the king of unorthodox. I mean, Jokic looks nice when he shoots it, but I mean, early in his career, they were like, "It's this bumbling guy, doesn't look smooth, whatever."
Vyacheslav, it doesn't look like soft touch because of the shooting form, but based on the way that the ball rolls, it is, because otherwise it would just bounce off the rim based on that shot form. But you can tell that the touch is soft because the ball is not like bouncing off the rim or even like bouncing off and in. It's like very like the ball's like caressing the rim before it rolls in on these shots. And we have some other examples later. Does CB even have a floater? I have seen CB floaters go in. I think I have seen Spencer Jones take more floaters than Christian Braun, which is crazy because Christian Braun has been here for 4 years. I can double check that stat, but
he had
I'll
two.
For next time.
Vyacheslav, show the other floater. He had 2 in one play. I don't know if we have that.
It might be later. It might not be. We'll see. He did. I think we do because he. Okay, maybe you could skip to this. Go to the Sombord push shot because this is one that misses, and then he gets the rebound and puts it back. And the reason I call it a Sombord is I think Tom Haberstroh coined that term as he was describing Jokic's ability to grab his own misses so often. So there you go. That one was not soft touch, Vyacheslav, if that's the one that you're thinking of. But a lot of the others do careen, right? That one was not, clearly not. And it felt rushed in the moment too. Anyway. But there are other times, even like with the 3-point shot, like he shoots it with that crazy form from the corner, and then like it bounces like straight up, and it bounces like a Kawhi shot, like the way that a Kawhi shot bounces like softly, like almost vertically off the rim and then in, which is like crazy. Like the physicists need to be investigating this, is what I'm saying. Okay, they need to be investigating Spencer Jones. Okay, let's go to the fourth quarter, the first fourth quarter 3.
Yes, got it.
We could just play both of those here. So Jamal was doing a lot of creation in these Spencer at the 5 micro ball lineups. Yeah. And Spencer just drilled this 3. And I mean, he on a nice just pick and pop action here. Plumlee is playing all the way back. They don't veer switch because they're more concerned with Jamal.
Plumlee went so deep.
Because like Jamal gets Castle, yes, that's Castle, on his hip. Plumlee has to drop. He has to stay and drop because Castle's not able to recover to in front of Jamal. And so what they should have done here is veer switched and then forced Jamal to. But the thing is, like, they're thinking, the Spurs are like, we're going to live with a Spencer Jones shot because, like, I mean, that's what I would do too if I was making the game plan for this, right? You're like, I mean, what are we supposed? What are they supposed to do in this lineup? It's going to be Jamal, so he's going to be who we focus on.
Is Adelman going to get all this credit for putting Spence in at the 5 in this situation? Nuggets fans hate Adelman right now, so
he got credit for it in this game. I think that he should get equal blame for playing Tyus Jones, Tim Hardaway Jr., Julian Strother, and I think Bruce Brown in a 4-guard lineup in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That was the moment I thought, I was like, okay, he's throwing this game. They're like, they're just doing whatever tonight.
Dolly says we need to give JJ Barea credit. Yeah, maybe he thought of that.
I mean, maybe. Can we go to the second fourth quarter three from Spencer as well? So nice again. Jamal driving. Oh my gosh, and one of Castle or Vassell is guarding him. Then the other one switches onto him. I don't know. And then Spencer's just trailing, beats Plumlee down the floor, hits the three, and this is when they decided to take Plumlee. Oh no, not beats him off down the floor. Plumlee was like in the deepest possible drop, and just completely ignoring Spencer. Jamal gets in the ball, and Spencer makes him pay.
In the restricted area.
Yes.
Wow, that's a tough close. No one's going to close in on that one.
Yeah. I want to see here what Spencer is shooting from through the season. I know it's a good percentage, especially because he's been shooting better lately. He's at 40% exactly on the season right now. And it didn't feel like it early, probably because it wasn't, but he has been shooting pretty consistently since then. He's not making every shot, and every time he misses, you're thinking, my gosh, that shot form is terrible. And every time he makes it, you're thinking, my gosh, that shot form is terrible, but it went in.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to that. There's no perfect shot form. I know we revere the Klay Thompsons of the world and we try to teach proper form and all that, but it's more important to be comfortable and in rhythm, whatever that means for you. If there's something you can do to improve your shot, to be more in rhythm, to be faster, that's good. But you don't have to mess with it.
Klay Thompson's shot form as much as other people do.
Interesting. I feel like people are always like, he has the perfect shot form, but
yeah. It's people that know more about basketball than I do say that, so you should probably listen to them. GP of St. John says, but that shooting form makes me smile all the time. That's true. It brings a smile to our faces, and you know what? He never hesitates to take those shots. So he's confident in it, and so I am not going to knock it. I'm not going to say I'm confident in it, but I'm not going to knock it. All right, let's go to the layup off the Jokic bounce pass, because this one was kind of tough. It was semi-contested here. So Jokic comes back in the game at this point, and Keldon Johnson, semi-contested, but he's got to make a little move with his feet, pivot to get to the position to get not so the ball isn't directly under the basket and he doesn't get blocked by the rim. Nice, confident, just like, I know what I'm doing here, make this layup, that's my job, move here, and takes advantage of the fact that Fox was so far behind in that semi-transition play. So that was really good. We had a lot of Jokic as a ball handler, especially in these like semi-transition situations late in this game, which I think really benefited us because they were trying to play like Keldon Johnson at the 5, and it wasn't going that poorly for the Spurs, to be honest. Like, it was better than when like Plumlee and Cornette were on the floor, because they were pretty bad. And Cornette was a -11, and Plumlee was getting completely cooked by that micro ball look late in the game. But so it wasn't going poorly for the Spurs when they had Keldon out there relative to the alternative, but it was a lot easier to pick on specific guys because they were switching so often. And there's a variety of ways to pick on a player. It's not just isolation. They were able to put guys into pick and roll action. They were able to beat like whoever is on this guy, run, like sprint down the floor and like make him follow you. Or if he doesn't get there, like we are operating with like a really good advantage. Vyacheslav said we didn't have any turnovers in the last 5 minutes against the Rockets or the Spurs. I think we could have turned the ball over a few times against the Rockets and it would have been fine because that was not a close game at all. Against the Spurs, awesome, because the turnovers have been an issue in the clutch. All right, let's go to the cutting layup next. Spencer continues to be a really good cutter within Denver's system here. So Yoke posting up because the Spurs don't front here. and Spencer's able to cut, and he's able to hit this shot. He's able to hit this layup through contact. So is that that's Castle. He's guarding Cam, leaves him to try to tag Spencer. Really, this play is on Carter Bryant, who just got completely played. If you're gonna double Jokic, you need to do it sooner. You need to be the one dictating, because if he reads that, so if he thinks he's got it, he honestly should have doubled earlier, so he could have he could have made the catch hard or even forced a turnover here, but didn't.
Jokic is peering over his right shoulder as he's catching this entry pass, and seeing him flash was just pretty sweet. And then he can just make the pass instantly.
Yeah. Great flash. Good finish. Great flash, great finish.
He almost went a little too early because Jokic was still catching that pass. But luckily,
but
Jokic,
Carter, he's flashing middle because Carter Bryant is completely ignoring him. And it's back completely turned and is about to double Jokic. So I maybe he's a little bit early, but yeah, I'd rather he be early than late in that situation. Not just because it worked, because if he's early, he probably pulls Castle in sooner, and then Cam is open on the wing. Right?
Yeah, could be.
So it's just another outlet for Jokic there. Okay, now here's the little kind of low light reel here. Highlight and low light, because he gets a steal. If you go to the steal and lob attempt, he gets a steal, and I don't remember if this one was an amazing Spencer steal or Fox just kind of bobbles the ball, and then Spencer tries to lob it to Christian. It was a little high of a lob, but I think it was an even worse idea for Christian to try to finish with his left hand.
Yeah, I don't think he expected the ball to go there.
That was a terrible lob. The ball is nowhere near the rim. Or Christian. Yeah.
It's something Spencer's gonna have to learn.
That's amazing. That was incredible. It gave me a little chuckle. What was this was at the point in the game where I still was well, they're kind of keeping themselves in it, clawing their way back, but we're probably going to lose anyway. So I'm just going to enjoy some of these moments. Okay, go to now I want to go to more of Spencer's defense, because he was amazing at the end of this game. Multiple game saving and game sealing defensive plays, would be game sealing if certain other stuff happened on the other end. But just we got stop after stop down the stretch of this game in a way that has not been true in any clutch games this season. Any.
Finally.
So let's go to the block on Harper first. So Dylan Harper, this is in the third quarter, so they're still trying to make the comeback, but I just loved this block here because it's Dylan Harper, he's so fast going downhill, and it's semi-transition. He's got a full head of steam. Spencer's able to get in position. He gets bumped off the spot a little bit, but he's able to recover, and he's got enough length that he's able to get a hand on the ball here. And I guess I can't remember if Yoke eventually secures that rebound, but
no, he doesn't. They throw it out to the corner. If Harper, flailed back a little bit and shot it like Shea does every time there's contact on the drive.
But he's a layup guy. He's a layup guy. He's a rookie, so he'll learn.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to a play where Bruce was blocked. This isn't defense yet, but I wanted to point out this great pass that Spencer has to Jokic. Just a quick entry pass here when Jokic is being fronted, but he kind of pulls himself into flash middle. And yeah, so Bruce gets blocked here. But that was an amazing pass by Spencer, I think, because it was just really quick processing in a way you don't see from Christian or even Bruce necessarily. It was more reminiscent of KCP, or even sometimes Tim is very quick on these semi-transition entry passes to Jokic that even if they're semi-contested entry passes.
That was a good play by Fox. Yeah.
Yeah.
To recover on that. I did not see him coming in for that block.
Yeah. So then, okay, now let's get to the clutch defense here. Let's go to the contest on Harper. Again, Dylan Harper. Not as much of a factor in this game as I expected. just because of that. We get killed by that archetype of player. But he gets this great contest on, first of all, forces the midi, because Harper blows by a lot of guys to either go for the dunk here, and Jokic is not going to contest it, or is able to like force the defense to pinch in and then kick out. But Spencer stayed in front of him to prevent those scenarios, and then was able to get a good contest and at least force a tough shot. But in this case, it was a miss.
He has lateral quickness and ability to flip his hips, so he can kind of close out and try to keep someone to a certain side. But it's hard to do against any NBA player if they get on your hip at all. Like, he had the speed to recover, and we were missing that in a lot of our other players on the team. Christian also did well, like, to force that pass out to the corner on the ball, aggressive on the ball.
Yes. Let's go to the contest on Fox next. So I think they don't get the rebound here. Maybe they do. Oh, they do. Okay.
They do.
So Fox can also make this shot, and he made other shots like this. But again, like, the thing I want to point out here, and it's less impressive because it's Fox and he likes to go to these kinds of shots, but Spencer keeps him from getting downhill. And like you said, he's really good at flipping his hips and moving his feet in a way that is not common for players his size, even good defenders, because guys like Peyton Watson, Jaden McDaniels, that have like similar size aren't necessarily as sharp and like stable in their foot movements when they're guarding players like this that can kind of like drive and like stop on a dime and do this kind of thing. They have more length for sure. Like, Spencer's got a good wingspan, but it's not like Peyton or Jaden. It's like 7 foot plus. I need to check what it is. Probably, like, if I had to guess, like 6'10" wingspan. If I had to guess, 6'10", 6'11", maybe. Not like 7 foot, 7'1", 7'2", like some of these like total freak athletes, wing stoppers. But what he's got on them is that really sound point of attack, just like footwork. And then finally, let's go to the closeout on Harrison Barnes, because I think that they end up calling a foul here, but I thought this was good defense from him, and he kind of they actually called the foul on Spencer, which surprised me because I thought they called it on Jokic here. But it was a good closeout, runs him off the line. Like, please, guys, when you're in the last 5 minutes of the game, no threes, no and ones. That is all I ask when you are up multiple possessions in the last 5 minutes of the game. No threes, no and ones. Give yourselves a chance to either not have to score on the other end, or at least not have to score a three to retake the lead or grow your lead, right? Obviously, there were points in the clutch in this game where the Spurs are able to get off threes, but I think for the most part, they were contested, with the exception of the one that came off of that offensive rebound kick out that was like so close to just being like, we almost got the defensive rebound. It's not like it was like lazy rebounding. It was just like tough, loose ball bounce in that situation. But I just wanted to point out Spencer's closeout here, because he does run Harrison off the line, and I think that is important. Because not that I necessarily think he would have made the three, but the point is, don't allow open threes in the clutch when you're up or down. But especially not when you're up. Or in any case, don't give them open threes in the clutch. GB of St. John says, can't believe that Spencer is older than half of the Spurs starters. I mean, the Spurs are so young. Let me see.
It's a young man's league now, unfortunately. But thankfully, Spencer's on the younger side. He's just older than the Spurs players.
Yeah.
Who are high draft picks.
Yes.
A lot of them. So that's the dream in today's NBA. But we're lucky we even had a 2-guard to convert who can do any of this stuff, because I mean, we can debate how much playing time he's going to get in the playoffs.
3, 4, 5, but like he can guard twos. Like that's so like a literal like 2-guard, but like we can put him at the 5. Right.
Yeah. Like,
Someone
yeah,
joked.
he's versatile.
I think I was RX Smart on Twitter, who I often get in roster debates with, said it turns out that the thing to fix the 4-guard lineups was to turn them into 5-guard lineups. Which I actually want to talk about a little bit next while we have some limited time here. We want to talk about like Jokic's turnovers are like somewhat down in the last few games, which is good. Another situation to monitor because that's been a real issue for him since coming back from injury. But okay, let's talk about the 4-guard looks, because it is interesting that like, wow, we had 5 guards on the floor if you count Spencer as a guard. And I generally don't, but for the purposes of this, since he's playing center, like he's basically like having to every single person on the floor is having to play up a position, except the point guard, right? So what happened there? Why are those working? Or why did that work versus like the other instances with the 4-guard looks? And friend of the show, Ryan Blackburn, had a little diatribe about this on Locked On Nuggets last night, where he said, guys, like the 4-guard looks are actually good. Like they're over plus 20 net if you look at everything in the aggregate. But I don't look at everything in the aggregate. So I wanted to share some updated statistics on that. In particular, the 4-guard looks are good if you look at everything in the aggregate with Jokic on the floor. They're never good with Val, but they are good with Jokic on the floor. But some of the 4-guard looks with Jokic are abhorrent. So I wanted to dig into why, right? So what I did was I went to Cleaning the Glass and I said, let's look at all the lineups where you don't have Zeke, AG, Cam, Deron, Peyton, either Val or Jokic, and or Spencer. David Roddy too, but he just got here. Yeah. To say like it's either Yoke or Val with 4 guards, and let's break it down by whether Jamal is on the floor or not. Okay. Jokic with Jamal on the floor and 3 other guards, that is none of those other forwards. We have over 300 possessions of data with this, which is not like a crazy high sample size for 2-person lineups, but for the purposes of this study, they are plus 19.9 net in those 300 possessions, which is insane, right? They're really good when you have Jamal, Jokic, and 3 other guards. And I'm not saying that that's how they should start, but it seems like at least through the regular season, because we know this stuff can change in the playoffs or in certain matchups, they are at least viable when you've got those 2 guys on the floor. However, when you have Jokic on the floor, none of those forwards, and no Jamal Murray, which we have seen a lot of over the last few weeks, especially in those late first quarter minutes, sometimes late third quarter minutes, depending on if DA changes things in the second halves of some of these games. They are a minus 16.1 net with Jokic on the floor and 4 guards that are not Jamal. What is your reaction to that, Will? Only 71 possessions, by the way, but it's more than 50, which is like kind of my threshold for like, am I even going to share this? Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, I mean, I know the league can go small sometimes, but even the small lineups are big. Like it's like these big dudes. They're just not centers. And so we have these guard looks where you think they wouldn't work at all because small guards kind of going out of the league. But I get that we can employ bigger guard looks and some guard looks that are horrible. I am sad to see that the minutes with Val are not great at all.
But just the reaction to like when it's Jokic without Jamal, if it's Jokic with 4 guards that are not Jamal, it's minus 16.1 net.
I mean, that's not surprising either, because Jamal is Jamal, and Jokic and Jamal are always good. So you put these other guards. I mean, I just don't. We've had backup guard problems this whole season, so it's like it kind of makes sense. I mean, we've been wanting some consistency. who are you putting in there? Christian work plays well with Jokic, but is not enough to be an offensive like stabilizer with Jamal out.
Right. I think that like when you're playing for, well, let's look at our starting lineup. Like you said, Christian is like the obvious other one there. There's no other guards in the starting lineup. So when you're talking about playing 4 guards with Jokic, it's like Jokic plus 4 bench guards.
Yeah. So it's like
So it's
who's in these lineups?
not, it's like, okay, these are not your best players. It's like Pickett. It's the other night it was Tyus Jones alongside Julian Strother and Tim Hart. It's like not even the other night. That was last night. That was the first half against the Spurs. Oh my gosh, DA, what were you doing? With like Bruce Braun at the 4 in that lineup. The point is the 4 guard look gives you an opportunity for your best players, especially the perimeter guys. And we talked about like, yeah, when it's like in the past, some of the small looks with Jokic have gone better, even with Jamal off the floor. But that was when you had like KCP even was often staggering in those looks. And you could be like, well, our defense will at least be good, even if like the offense is like shaky. Here you're talking about playing 4 guards that have utility on offense, especially when you're talking about like a Tyus, Julian, Tim, Bruce kind of what's the next step when you go, what's a trio but for 4?
A quad, I don't know.
You just call it a quad. That quad of players. Quartet, that's what it is. Thank you. A quartet. That are, you have utility on offense, but are not, thank you, light chemistry, it is quartet. Have utility on offense, but are not creators themselves. And present a host of defensive liabilities. And that compound when you put them all together, right? And so the reason I think that it's good when Jamal's on the floor is because you're like, well, we've got the most potent 2-man game in the league with other guys that at least theoretically can like pass, dribble, and shoot. And if nothing else, know where to be on offense because they're guards and they like know how to play offense, right? Okay. When you don't like, the thing that bothers me is when DA plays these 4 guard looks is like, I don't like them, period, even with Jamal on the floor, because just like, I don't think that we should be messing around with that, even in like for a playoff setting, because I just don't think they'll be viable ultimately in those environments. But especially when there's no Jamal, I'm like, well, why are we doing this? Because if Jamal's not on the floor too, like you need to be going defensive. You need to have like Spencer on the floor. You need to play Zeke. Zeke did not play in the last 2 games at all. And I get it. He's not going to play in the playoffs. But there's a strong argument that like based on DA's criteria, neither will Spencer. So why are we forcing, some of these looks? And then I have some of the data that's similar with Val. With Val and Jamal with four guards that include Jamal, it's minus 5.1 net, not good. Without Jamal, minus 12.1 net. And by the way, whenever Jamal is on the floor, like they just score insanely. Mm-hmm. Like they're scoring over 125 points per possession, regardless of the big on the floor when Jamal is on the floor in these looks in particular. But the defense is what really suffers. And I think that it's probably like a combination of like turnover rates, because even if you're scoring, like, okay, you don't have your best guard out there. Things just sometimes do get clunky. And then, yeah, but the thing that bothers me the most is that you're kind of chancing the defense getting so much worse without the upside of, okay, our best our best guard is gonna kind of light him up here, right? So I just wanted to point that one out.
Well, yeah, and without Maul scoring, like, I mean, we've seen with Jokic and his defensive metrics, when you're making shots, it's easier to play defense. It just is. So without Jamal in those lineups, you're already handicapped theoretically because you're playing these smaller guards. I know it's like theoretically quicker and switchier maybe, but without the scoring, I know Jokic is out. It's just surprising still with Jokic out there. You'd think he'd be able to score and like be passing to like guards who can shoot, and you wouldn't think the net rating would be that bad, but it just shows how important Jamal is to stabilize things.
Yeah. Okay, well, before we wrap things up, I just wanted to direct people to a short thread that I posted a couple days ago about some of the Nuggets clutch concerns. It's good to see them pull out a win, but they've definitely had some issues throughout the season. So check that out on my Twitter page if you're interested in some of the details and the statistics on what's going on with the Nuggets in the clutch there. Nuggets lost the trade said, can you guys talk about the rotation with Pwat back? I'm thinking we run small ball 5, Bruce, Tim, Cam, Pwat, Spence. I think we'll see a lot of Spencer plus AG once AG is kind of ramped up to the point where he can play like 30 minutes a game. I do think that they're trying to keep his minutes low right now. I would hope so, because I don't like Peyton at the 4 period, but especially not with like a small 5. Like, it's just weird. I think it worked last night because we really threw the Spurs off and like all this stuff, but it's more like a gimmick at this point. Because again, we've literally seen it in 2 games, right? We've seen it in like 2 fourth quarters, or not even. It was like 1 overtime and 1 fourth quarter, like half a fourth quarter. Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to say, Will, before we sign off?
No, I'll just say thank you, chat, for hanging out and hanging with us through technical difficulties that we had, but we got it figured out, and glad we could stream this long. This was a long one. This is now 2 hours and 40 minutes, but it is our 100th episode.
I know.
It's the 100th episode of What's in a Game, so that's why we're going long.
Will has dealt with me for 100 episodes of the show. You've probably edited like, oh gosh, the average. We used to have episodes that were like 3 hours long. So many hours of content. Hundreds of hours of content.
And we've spent a lot of time. That's like over 200 hours discussing Nuggets. So here we are. And thanks for hanging out and contributing. Chat, we always like to hear your comments.
GPO St. John says, thanks, guys. All the Nuggets related shows respond to some comments, but What's in a Game is the only one that makes us really feel like family. Well, it helps that there aren't that many of you guys commenting. So, I mean, I give some grace to the other shows, metaphorical grace, because they do have bigger followings than us and can't literally answer every single comment. But we appreciate that you guys.
That's why you got to get in here.
We want to get to the point where you guys don't feel appreciated anymore.
No, we'll remember the ones who are here first.
Yeah, and the ones who are here last, like at the end of these really long shows. So if you made it this far, we really appreciate you guys the most. If you like our content, please remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Leave us a review. Follow us on all our socials. I think both, like not just the show socials, but our socials, I think, are also in the description. If not, our ads are literally on the screen right now. So follow us on Twitter/X or whatever, because that's where we're most active. At least I am always lurking, even if I'm not posting. Don't worry, guys, I'm lurking. I see everything. And yeah, TGIF, guys. Always remember that winning is fun and losing sucks. But we're not going to do that anymore. No more losing.
10-game win streak.